drills one from 57 yards out.
Was kept alive by Oladipo. And Sabonis with a left hand.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV, FM 107.5 and 1070 The Fan.
Hey, welcome into a Wednesday. Sunny, hot, humid. Hope you're having a great day. It's going to get even worse, I think, weather-wise, from our staff meteorologist, John Dissauer, from what he was telling us a little bit earlier. Yeah, hot and sweaty is going to be the name of the game here for the foreseeable future. Big show today for you. Scott Hoke's going to join me coming up at 5:30. If you remember Scott, long time been around here, a part of the sports scene, media scene around here, and for a number of years he has been doing the Meekum car show, right, on NBC Sports Network. And if you haven't been out ever to a Meekum event at the State Fairgrounds, it's fantastic. I mean, fantastic. Love it. Fun time. It is going on, I think, either now through this weekend or tomorrow through this weekend, but it's going on this weekend. Clearly, you have to be masked up, things of that nature. SD will be practiced. So we'll talk to Scott about that, how everything has affected, because normally, if you remember, the whole Meekum event is in May. It comes around mid-May, right before the 500, and in this case, when everything had to be moved around, they moved that event until this weekend. And Scott's going to join us coming up at 5:30. We shall talk about that. Kevin Bowen, 1075thefan.com. Coming up at the 5 o'clock hour, Victor Oladipo. Victor Oladipo met with the media a little bit earlier today, which is something that he flat needed to do. I don't know if anybody understands any more about it. I don't know if you feel secure. I don't know if you think that some of the stuff that I've told you, that I have been told that's going on behind the scenes, I don't know if it makes it more believable for you, less believable for you. Or if you flat just think he's giving you lip service because he wants to make $3 million and has zero intention on being here past the end of his contract, which would be next year. I don't know what that did for you and your thoughts on Oladipo, but I have a couple coming up in a minute. And as far as the fan base is concerned, with all that transpired, and if you heard us and Shams Charania yesterday, who had the initial Vic opting out back on July the 3rd, and we played off of that story, and then had him as of, I think, was it late Monday night? Maybe Monday night? Yeah, Monday night is what it was. Suggesting that Vic is feeling good and feels like playing. And then it was ESPN.com yesterday that reported, well, it's about $3 million. Anyway, we'll dive into that a little bit more in just a second with some of my thoughts, because you still don't have any real answers about what the hell's going on. I mean, I'm not just sitting here trying to paint a portrait of a soap opera, because I don't want one. You don't want one. We've had them forever around here, seemingly, at least for the last 3 years. There's really been more soap opera, a lot more soap opera, than there has been fun and or winning. Last 3 years, if you combine the Colts and the Pacers, the last 3 years, not all at the same time, sometimes at the same time. But there has been more soap opera going on around here than there has been playing and or winning. And that sucks. And to you that it sucks. As I tell you every day, you can only take I got to be upset in here for 3 hours every day before you unplug and go, damn, enough's enough. Enough is enough. We'll talk to Kevin Bowen about that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, about what he saw today on Zoom. Now, Vic did come across as saying all the right things. When you get some of that audio ready, Kyle, let me know, and I'll roll it back. I don't know if anybody can come to the conclusion just by listening right now. And Vic should be dialed into, making sure that there is not further image damage around here. As much as maybe he wants to leave, maybe now he has a change of heart. Clearly, he's been getting from somebody some bad advice. I mean, somebody is handing out some bad advice, because that was ridiculous to do that on July the 3rd, and now that has placed him in a situation which I'm assuming has to be somewhat unenviable for somebody that cares about their image, cares about their public image, and I'm sure doesn't want to open up any social media outlet and read it getting shredded. But that's kind of the position they put them in. And now you're kind of in a position where you kind of better hope that you feel really good and what you're saying is real and not BS, and you really want to play down there with your guys. You really want to participate, and you're not just doing it for lip service. Because if you don't, and you collect your $3 million and you play for a couple of minutes, you go, now I have soreness, man. Nobody's going to buy it. Victor Oladipo met with the media via Zoom a little bit earlier today. Kyle has it audio-wise. If you missed some of it, any of it, here's a little bit of what was said.
But, coming down here, like I said, and being with the guys, around the guys, and coming out here and playing, and like I said, being able to practice with the guys at a high level, I feel like if my body keeps trending and the situation keeps trending up, there's a strong possibility that I might play. So I'm definitely trying to. So I'm coming out here and working every day, working hard every day, trying to help my team, trying to help myself. It's been a tough couple years, obviously. And I'm just trying to be smart because I want to play the next 10 years.
Victor Oladipo a little bit earlier today, and there's no doubt that the past couple of years have been tough on him. There's no doubt about that. I mean, all the criticism, all the descriptions of what may or may not be going on behind the scenes aside right there, it has been incredibly tough. But the fact remains, if you were to just have gone through with what you had planned to go through, gone down there, I mean, you could be sitting here right now, everybody be feeling good about it, right? And then if you felt like, well, there's some swelling, or you simply didn't want to play in the first place, and then you could tell everybody that way, and they say, hey, you know what, he gave it a try. Now, there's still going to be questions. I mean, there are constantly going to be questions. Because the Pacers and really Vic are in an unenviable situation here. Unless Vic is able to play and feels good and then plays a great deal. And I don't mean, every minute of every game, but if he is out there, legitimately out there, then I think everybody will give this a pass and think differently about it. But if he doesn't, it's going to be about what? It's going to be about the money. All that changed a couple of weeks ago, and that's why you got to think people around him and how this was all handled is botched. I mean, it has been botched. Today, he said all the right things. Today, he could have said all the right things without having to deal with all the criticism and the dialogue after he decided that he wasn't going to play, didn't bother to tell the Pacers. Their coach didn't know until we did back on July the 3rd, and that is why this is a really tired soap opera-like mess. It's the way to look at it. A couple of weeks ago, you probably would have completely understood. You probably would sit there because it's never not about money. A little double negative for you. It's never not about money. It always is in some way, large, small, whatever. It's always about money. We know that to be true. But in the court of public opinion, with those emotional ties that you previously had, before being drawn into all of this now, you probably, at least many of you, would have been more apt to give him the benefit of the doubt. And now you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt until you go out there and play, and you play meaningfully, if you know what I mean. That doesn't mean you go out there and you start and it's like usual. I'm not suggesting that. But it can't be a charade. I mean, it just can't be, I'm going to go out there for 5 minutes, I'm done. And then everybody's going to point the finger at it being about what? For sure. Just about money. Now, he told you in that short soundbite that he got down there, got the juices flowing. I'm paraphrasing here. Got with his teammates, felt good, trending in the right direction. My goodness, I don't know about you, but if there's a phrase in this market in sports that I'm sick of hearing about is what? Trending in the right direction. I don't think I ever want to hear trending in the right direction again. Anybody with me on that? Trending in the right direction. I mean, now you're in a situation where maybe you don't feel you have to, but there are a lot of Pacer fans out there that are absolutely going to say something's up, even if there isn't. Even if there isn't. Even if you're naive enough to believe that there absolutely is nothing going on, people are going to turn up their nose if they feel that it's absolutely positively just about the cash, just about the payment. And all you had to do to get around that is just really follow the path that you had placed. And go down, go to check it out. I mean, basically that's all he's done right now anyway, right? Or at least that's all we believe. That's all we've been told that he's doing. You would do that, and you would not have to worry about any of this. You know, whether or not those around you completely understood the ramifications of going down and not playing compared to those of just not going whatsoever, or going down and participating to not playing regardless. You have put yourself in a situation now to where you kind of got to play. Maybe you didn't want to. I mean, maybe it's all absolutely above board. Maybe for the life of me, it's all about teammates and getting down there and wanting to participate again. But, again, folks around here are going to believe it to be that way. Again, I get it, too. You just don't want another soap opera. I mean, you're sick of soap operas. You're sick about hearing trending in the right direction and all that. You've heard it before. And he still really could get most back on his side. I mean, some aren't, just because some are just way too damn jaded and looking for any reason, but he can still win some folks back. But what has to be going on here is he has to be telling you the truth. It does. It has to be about him really going down there and finding out. Like when I was talking to Shams yesterday, that's why I asked him, why Friday? Why July the 3rd? You know, why, if the Pacers didn't know? You know, why did I know at the same time as the head coach knew, and he didn't have any answers for it? Now, he probably does have answers for it, but it's not answers that he wants to make public right now. But he didn't have any answers for it. This is, to me, going to be the most interesting point we have seen with all of this coming up. Because it should be fairly easy to see what's real and what's not. I mean, at some point when you play basketball, we're going to see if you play it meaningfully or if you're just, out there to be out there. And I did my thing. I didn't. I mean, he's in a tough spot. He is in a tough spot with the fans. Maybe not with the Pacers. I mean, I don't know about the Pacers on the inside. They seem to be good with it. I mean, he said all the right things earlier today that you would expect, because you kind of have to right now. I mean, he is media savvy. He's certainly social media savvy. And you have to be absolutely not paying attention, not to be taking in and reading and understanding what has been said about you for the better part of 2 weeks. Because around here, that's something he's never gone through. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I mean, the Pacers have an important attachment to this, just like he does. I mean, they need him to be good. I mean, here's the other part about it too. How many months has it been since he had that injury happened?
It's probably been about 18 months by now.
How can you go down there and you go, hey, I have swelling, I can't. What's that tell everybody else? So 18 months later, holy crap! 18 months later, and you're having issues. So he's in a spot. He's in a spot. I'm not suggesting the Pacers are going to paint him in that light, but I know that people around here will, and I know that's what we're going to be talking about. You know, I mentioned a lot that everybody's radar is up for what you've put up with in the past, and it's really going to be up to see if what was said today is accurate or just a little bit of lip service. You know, if he actually goes out there and he does, or I mean, it's even going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him if he goes out there to come out and then say, even if it's true, and it's tough, it's too bad, but that's just the situation that he's in, and it's all nonsensical. It just didn't have to happen. And you kind of wonder if those, I mean, I go back to it again. Bobby Marks came on this show immediately following that decision. I have no idea why this is happening right now. You go down there, you know, he's on the roster. They can't replace him. He's on the roster. He goes down there, you know, check it out. Still going to be able to get paid. But the way that he did it, you know, he cost himself that $3 million. Bobby Marks told everybody around here that before anybody had an inkling about it. Thus, that's where we are. And again, I don't blame you at all. Like BT Deuce sent me a tweet right before the beginning of the show and said, man, what is all this? And, you know, another soap opera. You guys are tired of soap operas. Just tired of it. And I don't blame you, because you have been through it. You have been told a lot that actually did not take place. And I think most of you had hoped for a hell of a lot better from Vic. So here's hoping that everything was said today out of 100% being genuine and not out of I'm in a bad spot here. I kind of got to cover my ass a little bit. Here's hoping that's the case. But it's going to be a tough situation on how he's going to be judged from here on out. And again, he would not have had that deeply rooted of a problem over 2 weeks ago. I think a lot of you would be more than willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. But this thing has just been all over the map. And, you know, it's not, you know, people around here are doing this and saying this. It's just the situation and just the way that it's flip-flopped. And now you have the money aspect out there, and you already have a raw fan base that's just looking for a reason to think that something negative, something wrong is going on behind the scenes, and I don't blame you one bit. I don't. So we shall see. Hey, listen, hopefully he goes out there, he's able to play freely, feels good about it, has no swelling, and all that was said today is accurate. And then you start kind of working back, which would be beneficial for everybody. I mean, seriously, you don't want Vic to go out there and play bad. You want him to go out there and look good. He has to. 18 months away? I mean, regardless of if he wants to go someplace else, I mean, he can't make that call right now. But you do have to have a piece, whether you would like him to remain here for the foreseeable future or if you need to find another place for him. I mean, you've got to have that commodity built back up, because not enough have been seen, and it's going to be tough now saying all this, especially since there is an issue of money that has been loaded and lobbed into this. It's going to be really tough just to go ahead and go 5 minutes and go, oh, man, I don't know. I've got swelling. Got to be done. That was going to be difficult to do. It wouldn't have a couple of weeks ago, but it will now. So we shall see. And listen, I know that you guys are hoping that was as genuine today as I'm stating right now, too. See, Reggie says, he never lost me. It's a business. I'm a Pacer fan first. I cheer for the name on the front first and then the name on the back. And that's quite all right. I can just tell you by sitting here as long as I have and hearing from folks as much as I do, I mean, got my finger on the pulse of what everybody's thinking as far as being a Pacer fan, a Colts fan, or whatever. And I know exactly how most are feeling around here. What do you think the percentage of folks would have been today, Kyle, that listened to that, just the piece that we played and went, oh, yeah, whatever. You know, the part about the organization, yeah, whatever. I mean, the organization didn't know that you made that decision until you made that decision.
I think most people are just sort of sick of it. Make a decision either way and stick to it. Enough of this flip-flopping.
See, Travis says, I don't know how anything he said today was anything but lip service. And you know what? For his sake around here, it can't be. And he's got a lot riding on this, too. Because you go down there and you have 18 months later, you're going to have swelling. What are you going to tell the rest of the NBA? Yeah, I don't know about this. How much money when he becomes a free agent? I mean, you can argue that if he went down there anyway and bowed out, even if we hadn't gone through these past couple of weeks, that would still be a red flag. And I completely agree with you. I mean, the non-participation to protect yourself, I get. But, man, you're going to have to come back. You're going to have to come back. And who knows what the situation is going to be. I don't know what the monetary situation is going to be. I mean, hell, we don't know where we're going to be in December, do we? Are we going to be in the midst of starting a new season? How are things going to work financially? Are teams around the NBA going to be more hesitant to lob endless amounts of cash to somebody, especially somebody that 18 months later still is hesitant about participating? That's going to be difficult. I mean, we're going to be, and a lot of athletes are going to be in this category. It's going to be some proven moments coming up. And the last 2 weeks, I think, magnified Vic's proven moment. We'll talk to Kevin Bowen about that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. John Clayton, the professor, is going to join us. A lot of NFL stuff going on. We'll dive into the Dak Prescott stuff. It looked like Derrick Henry didn't look like he was going to get a longer term that he did, didn't he, Derrick Henry? Down in Tennessee, I think that's being reported too.
I think they're working on it. I think they're close to a deal.
Oh, they close?
Right now,
yeah, I thought Rappaport said that they were right there. We'll talk to John about that. We'll talk to John about Chris Jones. How about Chris Jones getting in with Kansas City? Legitimate? I mean, is this a legitimate Kansas City Chiefs team that can be a dynasty with the quarterback and the pieces that it still has in place? There's a lot of things to talk about. John Clayton is going to join us coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Meantime, 239-1070. Email address, jmv@1070thefan.com. On Twitter at jmv1070. Q317 writes this: the Pacers are giving bad advice. They draft players who aren't NBA ready. They're okay with being mediocre, and they don't like spending money. And last but not least, the general manager and head coach are stuck on playing a 1980s style of basketball. That is a lot of the stuff that I brought up yesterday. That is the image of this organization, right or wrong. That's how many view it. And especially that of the monetary part. Like at the end of the show yesterday, I had people saying, you know, how is this the Pacer problem? Well, I mean, part of the image is especially the monetary imaging that Q317 just sent us via tweet. It's what everybody else looks at around the NBA. That's what everybody talks about around the NBA, right or wrong, and how we feel about it around here. And they don't need anything that's more difficult to overcome. Hopefully at some point you can get past this. I mean, really, I don't know, other than him actually showing that he's back and feeling good. There's a lot riding on Vic's play for both the Pacers organization and for Victor Oladipo. And at least for folks around here, you hope that the dude was genuine in his words today. And it's just not. I got to get some lip service out there. Help squash some of what's being said. Again, more than likely, you're not seeing hardly any of this. Had you just gone a different direction, and that's the thing I would kind of be curious about is why they ended up doing that. I tried to ask Shams that. He didn't say he knew. Maybe he did know. Hell, I don't know. But that's certainly what we talked about yesterday. All right, 239-1070. We got that. We got some NFL stuff. Major League Baseball. So they're going to pipe in some sounds, I guess, in MLB. I'm trying to, and Tucker Barnhart doesn't agree with me. I want the Reds so badly to go back to some of those great 80s uniforms that they had. But Tucker wants a belt. I mean, I'm okay with just the strap that goes across the waist area with the 2 or 3 buttons. I'm okay with that. Somebody had sent me a picture of Dave Parker winning the Home Run Derby back in 1985. He won the Home Run Derby during All-Star Weekend, hitting 6 home runs. 6. And I wanted to actually, I went back to that. The only thing I could see was Dave Parker swinging a bat in a Reds uniform. It was the old school gray Cincinnati across the chest road uniform. My goodness, do I want to see that again. I cannot be alone in folks that want to see that again. Thoroughly excited. But we'll hit a little baseball coming up later on, too. YouTube Livers, thank you very much tuning in. I don't even know if I'm on it yet. I don't think I am. Here it is. Let's see if, there I am right there. I'm here. Everybody jump on board. 239-1070. Quick break, and we shall come back. John Clayton, Kevin Bowen, Scott Hoke of NBC Sports Network, and Meekum, which is going to be this weekend out at the State Fairgrounds. And Kevin's going to lead us on the other side, 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Here's what's happening with The Fan.
Listen to the morning show with Jeff and Big Joe from 7 to 10 a.m. and call in for the pop quiz and your chance to win tickets from Indy 11. It's the first Mountain Dew Indy 500 ticket stop Saturday at Kroger on Thompson Road. Join The Fan from noon to 1 for your chance at winning tickets to this year's race. Remember The Fan's on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Like and follow The Fan for updates, giveaways, and all things sports. For more information, just click on 1075thefan.com.
Live sports are back with your undefeated Indy 11 taking on Sporting Kansas City 2 this Saturday at 7 p.m. at Lucas Oil Stadium. Your safety as a supporter of the Indy 11 is paramount to a great experience. Please visit Indy11.com to review the safety plan for the venue on game days. Get your tickets now by visiting Indy11.com, Ticketmaster, or download the Indy 11 app to utilize digital ticketing. All tickets have social distancing built into the seating plan. We need your voice to help us get all 3 points on game days. Indy 11, victory is ours.
Double your bankroll in an instant with Instant Match from BetMGM Sports. New customers can get the action started with up to $100 in free bets when they sign up and make their first deposit with bonus code INSTANTWFNI. Whatever your sport, whatever your betting style, you're going to feel right at home at BetMGM, the sports betting app from the same folks that bring you the world's most spectacular casino resorts. Now choose from all of the popular wagering options along with in-game betting, boosted odds, specials, daily promotions, and much more. It's time to believe in your game with BetMGM's Instant Match. Download the BetMGM app today or go to BetMGM.com and use Instant WFNI to get your first deposit matched with up to $100 in free bets. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older and physically located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Don't have any summer plans? Well, pack your bags because Hubler is taking you and your family on a road trip. It's Hubler's summer celebration. Get road trip ready with huge savings and our exclusive 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. You can go the distance and take a road trip anywhere you want and still be covered. Shop your favorite brands: Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Mazda, Nissan, Acura, and Honda with our warranty included. Plus, get 0% financing and payment assistance at many of our dealerships. Remember, if you're looking to do a trade-in, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy ours. Don't miss Hubler's summer celebration. Be sure to check out our all-new Honda Superstore and our fully remodeled Mazda store. Visit drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it all.
With approved credit on select models, see dealer for details. Not everyone will qualify and offers may vary depending on manufacturer.
Hi, I'm Rick Edelman with a warning. Millions of people are buying stocks they think are low in price. Watch out. A lot of investors have no idea the risks they're taking. But you're holding steady, right? You haven't made a trade all year. That could be a problem too. With COVID on the scene, you might need more in cash than before, and maybe you need to reduce your market risk as well. Are you sure your portfolio is COVID ready? Call us at Edelman Financial Engines and let's review your investments and your entire financial situation and see if you're in good shape as this crisis continues. It's not the time to go it alone. Call us at 888-PLAN-RIC. Talk with one of my colleagues here at Edelman Financial Engines. We'll review your portfolio and make sure you're ready for what comes next. And we'll help you get through this crisis just like we've helped clients get through every crisis for the past 35 years. Call us at 888-PLAN-RIC. That's 888-PLAN-RIC. Online at ricedelman.com.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Marshall Mechanical in Franklin. Mark Chester is in charge of the residential side of the business, and he says the goals for the company are simple.
We are about quality. It's quality first. And a lot of companies you look at, especially in the heating and cooling industry, it's about how much can you push out in a day. And we don't operate with that philosophy.
Call Marshall Mechanical at 317-738-5940 or go to callthemarshallnow.com. Marshall Mechanical is your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
Right now, the world feels different as we stay apart to make sure we can safely come back together. Till then, there is something you can do without even leaving your home. Respond to the 2020 census online, by phone, or by mail. The census impacts where hundreds of billions in federal funding will go for things like hospitals, schools, and roads. Now is the time to go to 2020census.gov. It's as easy as it is important. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
Hey, John here. Time for a soccer scoreboard update brought to you by the Hometown Club. Your Indy 11, who are back in action coming up on Saturday night, Lucas Oil Stadium versus Sporting KC2. Download the Indy 11 app to get your tickets and info right now. EPL play. Arsenal, Liverpool, no score in that contest as of yet. And we have three other finals. Man City over Bournemouth, 2-1 was that final there. Wolves over Burnley, 1-0, and it was Tottenham 3, Newcastle 1. All matches to be had going final a little bit earlier today. All right, Indy 11. KC, Sporting KC2 coming up on Saturday. Looked really good last weekend. Another home date for the Indy 11. Download the Indy 11 app to get your tickets. Saturday night, Lucas Oil Stadium, Sporting KC2 and the Indy 11.
Sports with Dan Dockich.
Shams Charania joins us. What's your take on this whole Oladipo thing? Is he going to play?
There's a lot of optimism right now that he will play. I think as he's been able to go through multiple practices, look very good as far as I'm told in those practices, perform at a high level. I think that there is a good amount of optimism around the team, around the players, that Oladipo will see the floor at some point in Orlando.
Dan Dockich, weekdays, noon till 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
You take drugs, Danny? Every day. Good. So what's the problem? I don't know.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. John Clayton, top of the hour. Derrick Henry gets 4 years with the Titans. 4 years. It's being made official. We'll talk to John Clayton about that coming up at the top of the hour. We'll talk about Patrick Mahomes and that long-term 10-year deal in Kansas City, how Kansas City ended up getting Chris Jones back in the fold. Well, I think many, even my friends in Kansas City, thought that wasn't going to happen. Dak Prescott, and a lot more. John Clayton, top of the hour. Kevin Bowen, Scott Holt coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Meantime, a lot of Vic conversation. Met with the media earlier today, both he and Nate McMillan, the head coach of the Pacers. Shane Palmer asked me this. Victor is greater than McMillan. You okay over there? Man, Kyle's got a sinus issue over there. You've been battling that long. I've been battling my STD on my lip here. Vic, what'd you say? Vic Shane is greater than McMillan, and I mean we're nearing the time if something spectacular, something incredible doesn't happen, where oftentimes organizations look to go a different direction. And I mean, Larry Bird around here set that tone with the way that Frank Vogel was handled and the transition to Nate McMillan. Now, certainly things are different, but yeah, I mean, I'd been told all along that that's some of the issue there, but we'll see if that remains to be true. Any shred, in fact, is true. Sevens writes this: pro sports is a business, and a business is about money. It's not personal. It's strictly business. But here's the problem with this business. If you're in the business of either thinking about signing players, or if you're in the business of, wanting to market a player that you have, not being able to participate and still having swelling after 18 months, that's going to be tough on your business right there. I do, Sevens, I agree with what you're saying here. But this is not so much about business. If it was about better business, he wouldn't be in this situation right now. I mean, if it was about smart business, this could have and should have been handled better than it has been. So I agree with you. It is about business. But in this case, the more and more you look at it, the more and more you hear, it looks like the reason why now you're getting fired up in Orlando and maybe you didn't want to was because business-wise somebody made a mistake. I mean, hell, a mistake that I had a guest that talked about right after the decision was made. It's not like it wasn't readily available. But I agree with you. I mean, business and money and all that. But that one's tough. From Cold Beer, over under game 2 before Vic starts limping. That's exactly where some folks are right now. Just a thought. 239-1070. Kevin is up first today. Kevin, go ahead.
Hey, John, I loved your takeover on Saturday. I drank way too much beer and really enjoyed our time with my neighbors, and then your music selection blaring out the computer, or blaring out the stereo, if you will.
I appreciate it. We'll be back there again on Saturday, too. So I think I'm going to go indefinitely. I don't know when the end is, so we're going to continue to do it.
You're going to hear from me and Mayor Dave, or Mayor Dave is what I call him, but my neighbor Dave, you're going to hear from us with a boatload of requests.
I love
really
that.
Appreciate your program.
And I'll be in there by myself, too, so I'll be a mess. So it'll be great.
John, I wanted to touch base. I'm not a basketball guy, so I'm hoping you're going to offer some insight. I remember Oladipo when he was at IU right before a big lower body injury, and then when the Pacers picked him up and had him for, I guess, a year and a half before he injured himself again. I guess my question I'm really getting at is how average, and I understand we're talking about NBA players here, but regarding an injury, how average is Oladipo? So, I mean, how far do you extend that leash before you finally say, hey, enough's enough, we need to kind of change ship and move a different direction?
Well, I mean, this is what you got to find out here. I mean, maybe they feel they already know. Maybe Victor feels that he would already like to be out of town. But, I mean, if you're talking about what you're talking about, Kevin, I mean, that's something that they're going to need to know relatively soon because he's going into the final year of a contract. And the landscape right now is going to be tough to look at because I don't know, how NBA teams are going to be able to throw around as much money as they normally would. I don't know if some might be apprehensive in doing it. And the sample size that we have seen from Vic is just not enough. Now, that final game they played in March against the Celtics where he had 27 points in 28 minutes, I mean, it was certainly a feel-good, looking better type of story. But then you shut it down, and a lot of that makes sense. I completely understand, and you're concerned about not getting back into 5-on-5. But the mixed messages that have been sent here, I think, backs Oladipo into a corner, and he's not alone because the Pacers are in there too. I mean, regardless of you want to keep him longer term or you'd like to at least get something for him and not see him bail for nothing altogether is all reliant upon how this guy is going to look, what the market value might be. And that's the hope, I think, for everybody involved, whether or not he's going to be here long term or not. The situation is you'd like to have him look good if he ends up playing. And I don't know if he ends up playing and it's not as consequential as Pacer fans may view it, it doesn't seem as meaningful, then there's going to be questions about the motivation in which he's doing it. And, that's not good for Vic.
It seems like, I mean, you can point your finger a number of different ways, but it seems like Vic is really kind of he's really put the Pacers over a barrel, because I think you just explained right there, which is the insight I'm looking for. This isn't just about Vic going out there and scoring points. The Pacers are invested in this and that as well. And where do we go from here if we end up having a lame basketball player? I mean, we need a person that goes out there and puts up points, because we need something better than middle market basketball, right?
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, I got to run here. Thank you for the call, and I can't wait to hear from you guys on Saturday night, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Appreciate it. Listen, and it is. It's a situation that was going to happen anyway. But there's a lot more surrounding this situation by virtue of how Vic's side has handled this thing in the past 2 weeks. I would like to know this. I don't know if I can phrase this or form this with a Connecticut water question of the day, but I know what everybody's thinking right now regarding just in it for the money, just in it for the $3 million. Oh, crap. I don't just go down. So what do I need to do? I know that that's what everybody is thinking right now. But my question would be, I don't know how I do this. This is long form. I mean, what would it take, Kyle, do you think, for people to believe in what Vic said today?
I think you would
because
just have
they
to
don't,
play.
by and large, they don't right now.
I think you would just have to play
Well,
and play well.
I understand, but play for what? I mean, what length of time? What is justifiable
the
for
entirety.
fans to believe what has been said?
The entirety. At least, I mean, you might give him a couple of games in those first 8 games, but in the playoffs, he's full go, playoff time.
But see, now the dude, if he does actually have swelling, I mean, you're going to have people not believe that. And think that that's the only one reason that you're down there. That's why I hope that things were genuine today. I hope it was completely honest, and it has been met with some serious skepticism. And no credit. No doubt about it. But, yeah, I mean, I know it's going to be different. The thoughts that you have where today and what he said is believable, where it's not so much about the money as everybody thinks it is about right now as far as that decision and, his feel-good story being down there. And my point has always been, you just handle this differently. You don't have to go through any of this right now. Just a pain. But it is going to be tough. It is going to be tough to come back from that one. From Florida, John. Victor read too many Paul George articles. Dude's a quitter. $3 million forcing his hand under the rules the NBA established for its season restart in Orlando. Players who were healthy but opted not to play would have to forego their remaining salary for the season. I kind of understand what the NBA is doing. I mean, you go down there and, if you're just going down there, that's why you're going to have to go further if you're Vic, because if you're just going down there to get paid, I mean, the reason why that they want your participation to not just be a fraud, just to get paid. I mean, that's why they instituted this in the first place. It is just weird that we have somebody on the show that was all over it 2 weeks ago, and these guys apparently weren't. And they're in a spot. I think they're in a spot. I don't know how people are going to evaluate it for being genuine in what was said today unless, you are able, and hopefully he is. And that's going to be the best scenario for everybody. If he is able, if he is healthy, if he does play well, and maybe they can squash some of what is going on right now. Just some thoughts of the never-ending saga. So from Pete May, I've seen genuine from Vic and his body language and eye contact, and that video was all lip service. See, like Pete May, I'll give you a great example. And Pete, this is not ripping on you at all. I'm just like, what would it take for Pete May, who just sent me that tweet, to say, oh, okay, then I was wrong. That was genuine. It's going to take a lot. Whereas prior to, it wouldn't. There'd be a lot greater understanding, and they're just not going to be now. They are in a tough spot for real. Shout out to YouTube Livers, by the way. I see you guys working over there. My guy Jay Law, who's been on the JMV takeovers. Yeah, you guys are asking. I think I'm going to do it at least until, my thought is maybe doing it through August. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to battle up with some of sports reemerging, but I might try to do it until the end of August. I think after that, it's going to be incredibly tough to do it every Saturday, but it's been a blast. It really has. It has been as fun as I've had in a long time. JMV, shout out to Chad, by the way, too. Travis writes this: did Vic really say that there's a strong possibility that I might play? What the hell does that mean? I know. It sounds like somebody that was scrambling a little bit. He's in a tough spot right now in the court of public opinion around here. Maybe this is all overblown and he doesn't care, but if he does care, that was going to be tough on him. Tyler Fox writes this: hey, JMV, can we get a little Southern Indiana insight on Brady Allen from Gibson Southern? I saw that a little bit earlier. He just announced his commitment to Purdue. Brady Allen from Gibson Southern. I remember back in the day when I was at Indiana State, there was a left-handed pitcher. I think he was drafted by the Cleveland Indians from Gibson Southern High School, and his name was Casey Witten. Anybody remember that name? Casey Witten. He's a really good baseball player, really good pitcher. But I don't know, Tyler, too much about Brady Allen. Shout out to Gibson Southern down in Gibson County. Shout out to Hobstadt. All right, quick break and we'll come back. More of your tweets, your emails, your phone calls at 239-1070. Back with you next.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Scott Agnes, how worried should Pacer fans be about Vic in Indiana?
I think health-wise, he's going to be okay. But at this point, I think one thing that I've started to hear around the league is people wondering what his reputation's becoming. And is this making it impossible for the Pacers to keep him?
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, I got some news for you guys. Ready? Who would like to have us in your backyard for the show, for a party, and we bring absolutely everything, well, but your backyard. Backyard Bourbon Broadcast 2020 #2 is happening a week from Friday. Who's down? At least that's what I heard, a week from Friday. Right? Does that make sense? I'm going to say a week from Friday. A week from Friday in your backyard, and we bring everything. Heaven Hill, all the beverages, Larceny Bourbon, Evan Williams, everything beneath the Heaven Hill Distillery umbrella is going to be there with Brent Halverson and Randy Strand. Ryan and Fat Tire Beer, front and center, awesome. Hydration with Joe, John, and Dennis from Connecticut Water. And, of course, now Ford's Garage is on board. Ford's Garage from Noblesville with the JMV special burger that's up there, too. They're also going to be bringing the food. We bring everything. All we need is your backyard. And all you have to do to get us there is to sign up. Sign up right now, 1075thefan.com. We will select a winner a week from Friday in somebody's backyard. We shall be the Backyard Bourbon Broadcast. Sign up now, 1075thefan.com.
Kids, tell your parents about Forum Credit Union's Sprout of the Month contest where you could win $100 in a Sprout account for college. Details at 1075thefan.com.
This is a message for all men. After trying the little blue pill, my family doctor said my ED was incurable unless I had surgery. My wife was supportive. She told me it wasn't that important to her, but I knew it was deep down inside. I felt less of a man, less of a husband without that intimacy. I was embarrassed. But all of that changed the day I called the Indianapolis Men's Clinic and made an appointment. My wife went with me, and let me say, my doctor was wrong. We have regained our intimacy. It's truly amazing what they've done for us. Indianapolis Men's Clinic resolved my ED and my low testosterone all in one place. Thanks, guys. No matter your age, your condition, or if you suffer from Peyronie's disease, we can help. $99 for a physician evaluation, test dose, and testosterone checkup. Call now 317-999-9000. That's 999-9000. Or at IndyMen'sClinic.com.
Get up and go now so you can go tonight.
Hey, John here for Farm Credit Union. Let Kevin and the gang make sure you understand. It's been a tough half year so far in 2020, no doubt. But you got to hit some marks as far as the half year is concerned, especially financially and budgetary. 6 important numbers to check mid-year, like right now, credit score, debt-to-income ratio, retirement savings rate, and so much more that you can learn because there are financial steps, guidance, and resources you can get from forumcu.com, where Kevin and the gang help you help yourself financially, and nobody needs more help than I do. I'll raise my hand right now. But they're there for you in times of need like this. Financial guidance at forumcu.com. And then me and my daughter Lainey giving you the opportunity every month to win $100 in the Sprout account to start one for your kids' college fund. Sign up today for the Sprout account. forumcu.com.
Hey, it's Rob Belushi from the Bill Estes Ford family in Brownsburg. Summer is here, and I finally get a break from homeschool. Brian has been teaching me about premium pre-owned vehicles.
Neither of us get a break until you pass this pop quiz. With 190 pre-owned vehicles on the lot, tell me why 70 of them are priced under $10,000.
While Bill Estes Ford sells the most new cars, we actually sell 4 times more pre-owned vehicles.
That's right, Rob. One of the reasons we advertise new cars is to help us get more trades.
That's why we get the best trades, and we give you more money for them. With double the lot size, we have more room for more cars to have more flexibility on our low prices.
This month, we have to move 190 nearly new vehicles, all priced below Kelley Blue Book.
Over 70 of those are priced under $10,000, and you still get $2,000 more for your trade.
And we offer
nearly 100% financing approval on nearly new cars.
Wow, the student has become the teacher.
This month, we have to move 190 pre-owned vehicles, all under Kelley Blue Book. Over 70 of those are under $10,000. Your key is waiting at Bill Estes Ford in Brownsburg.
Hey, sports fans, it's time to discover a new way to bet with Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Bet Rivers offers an in-game live betting experience that's second to none. When the game starts, the betting action really begins. With loads of in-game betting options, including instant betting. Plus, Bet Rivers Sportsbook offers live streaming of matches from around the globe. Bet on the game while you watch it, all in one place. Download Bet Rivers Sportsbook or go to betrivers.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT, 1-800-994-8448.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Get up to $150 in savings off select sets of tires now through August 2nd. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Indy Sports Center. Whether your team is playing or not. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Well, you're going to have to say that. You're going to have to speak up because I can't hear you.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You probably heard me during the break if you're listening. Backyard Bourbon broadcast number 2 for 2020. Month of July is a week from Friday. If you want us in your backyard, log on 1075thefan.com and get yourself signed up. A quick shout to Roosevelt Jones, who was added to the UIndy coaching staff. So alongside head coach Paul Casaro that we had on the show a couple of weeks ago, and my good friend Michael Burris from Eastern Green, Roosevelt Jones of Butler is going to be on that staff too. Well done. You know, I mentioned too, the Backyard Bourbon broadcast. It's a week from Friday. I'm assuming we're going to draw coming up on Monday, 1075thefan.com. This was sent to me overnight. This is from Greg at JMV. My company would like to participate in the Backyard Bourbon broadcast. Have you heard of the hot dog robot? We were at Joey Chestnut's sauce intro last year downtown. You can also ask Big Joe about it. We could bring it to the house that is hosting. I do not know about the hot dog robot. My bad. I didn't know.
It makes hot dogs?
It says, I don't know what it is.
Oh, I love
Look
hot
up
dogs.
hot dog robot. I'm a smoked sausage dude myself. But you could do, I'm assuming the hot dog robot could work that too. The hot dog robot. I did not know. But that was from Greg Kramer, in fact. The hot dog robot.
It's an actual robot that cooks hot dogs on the grill.
Was it like R2-D2 or C-3PO robot?
Like
Do you know what that is?
C-3PO?
He looks like C-3PO.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like a human, kind of like C-3PO.
Holy
but,
crap, I need to have a robot in a backyard bourbon broadcast. Yeah, I mean, what am I thinking? So it's a real robot. Does it walk around and cook hot dogs?
No,
or
it's just like an
stand there?
arm. It's got like a grill, tongs on the end of it, and it's going around and moving the hot dogs.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
Holy crap. Who doesn't want a hot dog robot in the backyard? Man, I'm sorry, Greg. I had not heard of it. I know, everybody. Hey, I knew this person back in high school that was called Hot Dog Robot. I know. Yes. Thank you, John Wood. Wonderful. That's why I'm always hesitant to bring this stuff up. But no, this is legit. That does look cool. Hot Dog Robot. Thank you, Greg, for that. Hey, JMV, when are we going to hear your predictions for this year's Red Leg squad? I already gave it, 58-2. You guys aren't with me on that? I haven't felt this confident about a postseason berth in nearly 20 years. I mean, we know how they played out, but still, nice to have that to look forward to. Richie D, 58-2 was my prediction. Anybody going with me? Connecticut Water question of the day. Will the Reds finish the season, this shortened season, 58-2? Yes or no? Kevin Bowen, Scott Hoke, 5 o'clock hour. John Clayton talks some NFL because we got some stuff going on. We'll talk to the professor next.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Scott Agnes, how worried should Pacer fans be about Vic in Indiana?
I think health-wise, he's going to be okay. But at this point, I think one thing that I've started to hear around the league is people wondering what his reputation's becoming. And is this making it impossible for the Pacers to keep him?
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Man, are we getting hot. We are. The last thing you want is to be hot in your house. Hey, in your home, right, where you expect to be cool and comfortable. It is a back sweat-free zone. And you can always have that thanks to Love Heating and Air Conditioning, 317-353-2141. Just making sure they're great technicians. Well, for you, understand what they're dealing with. If you have issues where it's not working efficiently, they can fix that, get that done for you, get you back on track, and you will once again be in a back sweat-free zone. Plus, if it's working inefficiently, it's going to cost you money. And, man, nobody wants that right now. Not at all. So if you're feeling as if your current cooling unit is shortchanging you, call my friends at Love Heating and Air Conditioning. That's John and Chris, 317-353-2141. And they're following CDC recommended guidelines to make sure that your health and your safety will not be compromised. They're the best. Love Heating and Air Conditioning, 317-353-2141. Let's all live in a back sweat-free zone. Online, love-hvac.com today.
As we adapt to what life looks like now, we recognize there are still concerns. Over the last few weeks, we have faced adversity and battled this historic virus, all while remaining vigilant and focused on the health and safety of those we are privileged to serve. At Franciscan Health, we look to a better tomorrow and are all in, all the time, on safely caring for you and your family. We're here and ready for you, always.
Hey, it's John here for Andy Moore Toyota in Avon. It's 5 miles west of 465 on US 36. The best car buying experience is even greater now because you can get it done contactless online. AndyMooreToyota.com. Just check out car, truck, or van, what you want. Pick it out, read about it, see it from every conceivable angle. Talk to Ben Mendoza. Get that deal done because it is going to be a breeze to deal with. The best car buying experience ever. And then they will send it to your house. Send it directly to you online, AndyMooreToyota.com. Or if you want to just go out to Avon, they're following CDC recommended guidelines, so your safety's not going to be compromised. It is all good. The best car buying experience, even better at Indiana's best. Online, AndyMooreToyota.com, or tell them that I sent you to Andy Moore Toyota in Avon, 5 miles west of 465 on US 36.
Live sports are back as the undefeated Indy 11 take on Sporting Kansas City 2 this Saturday at 7 p.m. at Lucas Oil Stadium. Learn about the plans for your safety and get tickets at Indy11.com.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC HD2,
W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
No matter who's playing, we're talking. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Are you kidding? You think I'd join this crummy snobatorium? But this whole place sucks. That's right, it sucks.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Kevin Bowen, Scott Hoke coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Latest on Vic, we'll do that coming up in just a bit. We'll work in some MLB as well, but on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he's a friend of the show. NFL reporter John Clayton joins us. All right, so we long-term deal, deadline day. Give me some surprises, maybe, storyline-wise, that we've heard so far.
Well, it seemed pretty doubtful on the Derek Henry front yesterday, but at least he, the 14 franchise guys, he and Chris Jones were able to get deals. We're still waiting for the details on the Henry deal. In fact, you're hoping right now that they get it in on time because it did come in so late. And so they got literally, 1 minute or something like that to be able to do it, or the 1 minute has passed. But he gets a 4-year deal. And so that's done. Yesterday, Chris Jones, and it's funny because you talk about how things can move quickly. They hadn't even talked to Chris Jones's agent until they got the Patrick Mahomes deal done, and then Jones basically gets the deal done literally in about less than a week. And it's interesting the way that both players did it because neither guy gets a raise in the first year. Patrick Mahomes, he's going to make the same 2 years, $27 million he was scheduled to make, and Chris Jones basically didn't get a signing bonus. He got 16.1, which is his franchise number, and then he goes to 21.5 next year, and so he gets $37.6 million guaranteed, not $80 million guaranteed or $60 million guaranteed. So he gets 2 years guaranteed, but those are the only deals done. The one that surprises me the most is not getting something done with Dak Prescott. Now, again, we sometimes these things can come together fast, but assuming that they didn't get it done, and I assume that they would get something done, this puts the Cowboys in a real tough position for next year because, Jerry Jones is adamant about trying to get a 5-year contract for his big contracts. He wants to be under $35 million, but the bad part about not getting a deal done, to keep Prescott, and he wants to keep Prescott, is either going to be a 20% increase at $37.7 next year, or if you put the exclusive at $39. And if that's going to be the case, you basically have to go over $35 million for 2 years to do this. And so I think he held too long, and he hurt him because what they have next year is they got 7 players making $106 million under the cap. Okay, so if you have to put the 37 or 39 on top of it, you have in a flat cap, which is most likely, you're going to have $145 million. That only leaves $53 million for the rest of your team. So you have to do some real scrambling or some real cutting. So they look like they're going to have to be set for a little bit of a reset.
So John Clayton on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. The thing that kind of sticks out to me is that of Chris Jones, because so many people, especially those around Kansas City, thought that nothing would get done. Was that a surprise around the NFL that Brett Veach and the gang in KC got something done?
Yeah, it was. I know it was to me because I just didn't know, when you pay $45 million, which, I know it's 45 as far as the new money, but really it's 39.8 on the 12 years of his contract, where you're paying 39.8 for a quarterback, 20.8 for defensive end Frank Clark. You're paying, $18 million for Tyreek Hill. You're paying, $15 million for your left tackle, Eric Fisher, and you've got all those salaries there. Can you afford to go from 16-1 up to $20 million on that deal? But again, the way that he did the deal and the way that Mahomes made the deal does, make some sense. But it still surprised me because, next year, again, the argument's going to be you're going to have a flat cap. And if that's going to be the case, you got discounts are going to be coming down from franchise tags next year. And in the case of the Chiefs, they had $23 million left of next year's cap, thanks to Mahomes not asking for more money and keeping the same cap. And of course, with the 21.5, that eats up all the money the Chiefs have under next year's cap at a flat cap. So they're going to have to do some cutting themselves to get some things done. But it allowed them to keep 20 of their 22 starters, and they only have 16 free agents next year and only maybe 3 or 4 that are starters.
It seems like to me that if we've ever seen a possibility, obviously, because New England had one, but a legit possibility of somebody else trying to build a short-term dynasty that Kansas City, because of what you explained, just kind of put themselves in that realm of possibility. Did they not?
They did not. I think you can. Brett Veach, the general manager, did a great creative job in being able to do it. But basically, in this case, Patrick Mahomes did a different version of a Tom Brady deal. And what I mean by a Tom Brady deal, he got paid $18 million a year in 2010 on a 3-year contract. Okay. After that, he took discounts. He didn't ask to be the highest paid quarterback. And really, in a different sense, Patrick Mahomes did the same thing because, he didn't get a raise in the first 2 years of the contract. Then he starts putting the cap numbers at about $44 million at a time when the cap is going to be going up into the 220s and 230s. And so he makes it manageable there. And then, the fact that he did 12 years, now, you can see that within 3 years, Russell Wilson will probably top the 39.8. You would think the second contract or third contract for Dak Prescott would top it. You would think that Deshaun Watson will be able to top it. But again, you can see that Mahomes, got enough money in the $45 million new money that he's happy with it. And there's some, basic guarantees that activate 2 years before the base salaries are due. So he's got security there, but they can also get out of it, if they want to in a couple years.
John, I know that Bud Dupree and Pittsburgh want to reclassified, and is he still on the outside looking in right now as far as longer-term deal?
Yeah, it does not look like he got a deal and was not going to get a deal. Same thing for Shaq Barrett down in Tampa Bay. So what you're looking at is that he's got to see if he can get that adjustment. But see, it's interesting that the one that tried to do this was Terrell Suggs. Remember that years ago?
Sure.
He was a linebacker, and he said, I have my hands on the ground more as a defensive end. And ultimately, the Ravens settled with him and cut the difference. Well, they did the same thing this year with Matthew Judon, because the cap number was 15.8 for linebackers, 17.8 for defensive ends. So what they did with Judon is they gave him the $1 million to 16,808, and so they took care of that. That's why he's happy to stay there, but also he doesn't have to fight the defensive end linebacker battle because that's hard to go. Jimmy Graham tried to do it and he lost, and so the only way you can do it is with a settlement. Now it's too late for a settlement. We'll see how the grievance goes.
So John Clayton on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So what's ultimately going to be able to happen with Yannick Ngakoue in Jacksonville? Because this is a soap opera beyond soap operas.
Yeah, it really is, but now he's in a tougher spot because there was no trade that was done. Apparently there was trade talk, but it didn't satisfy the Jaguars. And Ngakoue was also willing to say that he would play under the tag, which of course why wouldn't you at $17.8 million? But now to trade that $17.8 million, the only way I think the Jags can do it is much like Houston last year when the Texans traded Jadeveon Clowney, is to take almost half the money in the deal and have to pay that off. Now they did that to a degree with Nick Foles in moving his contract, but they'll have to do it again. But also, are they going to get the value? Because what you saw was the Texans, only was able to get a third-round pick and 2 backup linebackers to come over from the Seahawks, and they paid $7 million. They paid $7 million, and Seattle paid $8 million. So now they'd have to do the same thing. But I don't know if they're going to get that first or second round pick they're seeking, because when you look at it, Ndakwe's more of a 4-3 linebacker or defensive end than Clowney, who can play linebacker or defensive end. And so most of the 4-3 teams are taken care of.
4 years, $50 million. Is that what it was for, Kyle, for Derrick Henry? I do want to double back to that. Is that along the lines where you thought it was going to come in for him, or does that surprise you, John?
No, that's kind of where I thought it would be, because I 13 was probably, the right asking price. But if you're talking 12.5, in fact, I was looking at the numbers right there. Basically, it would be just a little bit of an extension if you would have done the the second franchise tag, because his franchise tag was 10.2, and so if you double that, which is 20, or you get 20%, then it was going to be in the 12s, and so it's kind of right in line there. So they kind of played off the franchise number as 4 years, $50 million, and so that makes some sense. And now what you're going to see, and you're going to watch this with Marlon Mack, because go back to 2011. I remember, you probably don't, but it's like when you had the CBA coming in, and there was going to be a reasonably flat cap. Well, there's going to be a flat cap or a lower cap next year, most likely a flat cap. Well, when that happened, there was a 20% decrease in every position for the franchise tag. So, like, for example, at 10.2, the running backs now may be in the 7 range, 7.8 range, or $8 million. So if you want to keep a back, you get a bargain in just franchising them next year. And, a max one of 10 backs from the 2017 draft that's good, and they're all free agents. And so maybe half those backs are going to get the franchise tag and not be happy, making 1 year at, say, $8 million, as opposed to trying to get $10+ million. Dalvin Cook is not going to be happy about that.
I'm thinking about this, too, with Marlon Mack. I'm glad, John, that you brought that up, too. Because, I mean, even if he has a really good season, what is his market value, essentially? How do you view that if the Colts choose to just go ahead and let him go and become a free agent?
Yeah, I'd say right now $8 million, $6 to $8 million, because he just started to really establish himself last year. But, the problem's going to be, with a no cap increase and, not many teams being able to spend much money, and he'll have like as many as 12 to 14 running backs in free agency. They're all going to be like the quarterbacks this year. They're going to have musical chairs, and somebody's going to be without a chair. I mean, and then you look at the way running backs were spent. That's why there's going to be a big drop-off in the running back number next year for franchise tags, because, the top, there was like 7 that made 2.75 or more. We know Christian McCaffrey made 16, but then you go down to 8 for Melvin Gordon in Denver. You go down to 5.5 for Todd Gurley. Austin Eckler got 6.1, and then you got Jordan Howard getting 4.875, and then ultimately at the end you got the 7th highest, and that's of all the running backs that got deals this year, was Carlos Hyde going to Seattle for $2.75 million. So the running backs are going to get pulverized next year, and my guess is the fact that they drafted and traded up to get Jonathan Taylor. And if you see, like, for example, in Green Bay getting A.J. Dillon, that could put Aaron Jones and Marlon Mack without a job unless they want to franchise.
Well, you factor in Taylor and then Nyheim Hines, who's going to get a lot of work, out of the backfield, kind of in the Darren Sproles type of form. I mean, there's a lot to chew on right there if you're becoming a free agent if you're Marlon Mack.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. And then, you have to wonder, are there going to be enough starting jobs available? We watched that with the quarterback position, and I venture to say it's going to be the same thing with the running back position, because when you look at it, more than half the league right now have backs that are either from 217, 218, 219, and 20. That eats up more than 20 teams, and so you only have a limited number of spots there because, everybody seems to have their running back except the one that lets one go. And now, like in the case of Aaron Jones in Green Bay, I mean, he has to worry that A.J. Dillon's going to take over for him, and then, in Marlon Mack, it's going to be a shared position, but that sharing might not go next year if indeed they stay with Taylor and try to let Marlon Mack go.
It's John Clayton on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Should there have been at all any hesitation in Cleveland with Myles Garrett?
No, I think he's that good. Now, again, it's not going to go over well with Pittsburgh and Mason Rudolph for the big spat that they had, but he's top top pick in the draft. I mean, he's a defensive end, which still gets more value than a linebacker. You got 23.5 or so on Khalil Mack, but 25 seems to be the natural increase. And I say that in an unnatural year because that's why I question, whether Chris Jones, because you knew Chris Jones's value was going to be exactly the same or a little bit less than DeForest Buckner. So when Buckner got his deal for 5 years, 105, Chris Jones was asking for that and was 100% right in asking for it. And he took the 4-year deal at $80 million for $20 a year, which was right. But in the case of Garrett, I mean, now you get him locked up for 5 years at $25 a year, and I think that's right in line.
Hey, John, is there a market for David Njoku's request for being traded out of Cleveland at all?
I mean, Seattle, I'm sure, is interested because they don't have to have him, but it's going to be tough to take that $17.8 million cap room. And it's like I don't know what other teams were talking, but again, if he can't make the switch to some linebacker spots, it's hard for him to go and take $17.8 million of cap room. When teams are now going to have to really struggle with this year's cap and next year's cap.
All right, now for the coronavirus portion of our NFL conversation. John Clayton's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So we saw the face mask guard, the face guard kind of thing. Now, are they going to be – how's this going to end up working? Does it end up working? Because you've heard from some players suggesting that there's no way in the world some will wear this.
Yeah, J.J. Watt will not wear it. And, fortunately, the league, at least in one agreement with the Players Association, is not mandating that everybody wear that. It's going to be an individual thing. And I guess what you do is at once camp you get in, and then you try it, and you see how it works. Can you breathe? Can you not breathe? Do you like it or you don't like it? You give it a try or you don't give it a try. But I think that that's going to be an individual decision by the player. It certainly would help because it would minimize some of the spread. But, of course, you're not going to totally eliminate the spread because if there is a player on the field that does have a positive, it's going to go around. But that's the one thing. I think the players are being unreasonable in asking for testing every day because testing every day would prevent you, me, every listener the chance to at least get a test because now you're taking away testing when you need more tests. That's unreasonable, but I guess if you get it every other day or every third day or whatever it is, that's fair. But at least when you're in the team facility, even if it's in one of the hot spots, you're in a safer place than most.
So John Clayton with us, do you see every camp across the NFL landscape starting when it's scheduled to start?
Not now. I mean, the definitive, we'll find out on Friday because, that's the delayed time that the owners and players are going to get back and talk again on a conference call. If they can get something done by Friday, then I think camps can start on time. Because technically, like for example in Houston and Kansas City, some players, unless they're banned by the NFL Players Association, some of the rookies are going to be allowed to come in and start to get integrated in the facility, not do a lot of stuff, but just get integrated, get their tests done and everything else. I don't know if that's going to hold up. Like in the case of the Colts, they would have players coming in the 21st, and we'll see if that still holds up. But if they can't get something done by Friday, my read on it, camps won't start till August the 10th.
I know that you're holed up in Seattle. What has been at least in the now, as we're speaking now, plan moving forward with the Seahawks? Because obviously Seattle's been a hot zone for the virus.
Yeah, but fortunately the governor has been real good in trying to flatten the cap faster than anybody else. So he flattened the arc there, and there was a couple spikes because of some homeless, some jails, 85 people in a University of Washington frat having positive tests for partying too much, and then you still have a lot of the healthcare homes that had some spikes. But for the most part, he's been able to, Governor Inslee, keeping it at roughly 5%. Now, like for example, they had tests yesterday that there were, I think, 550 positive tests, but this was on 19,000 tests. So that stayed at the 5.5%, and they've been under 5% a lot, but there's been a little bit of a spike. But overall, they've done a good job. People here, because this was the first epicenter, they have been pretty good as far as wearing the mask and having social distancing. I know because I'm out every night having to get things for my wife and food for my wife and all that stuff, that not a lot of people are in the restaurants. it's not a lot. It's pretty good there, but this area has been pretty good.
Now, I'm assuming around here we're going to have what was the number again, Kyle? Here, Lucas Oil Stadium, was it 14 or less? I think, at least as of right now, would be in attendance if a Colts game, let's say for example, were to be tomorrow. And I'm assuming there are similar plans, steps in place in Seattle. And I was kind of curious about this around here with folks. But how many people around the Seattle area, John, just may not go? Because they would be concerned about getting it if they go. Would there be an issue to fill up the allotted seats, whatever number that might be in Seattle?
I mean, if they open up the seats, and my guess it would be a quarter, so you're talking in that same 15 to 18,000 range. There'll be enough that will be able to go if they're going to be allowed to go. But that's still going to be a big if. And so, because I know that, I think most teams now have kind of adopted the early Patriot model, opting out. That you can still keep your place, you can put the money toward next year, you can get your money back, or you can just still wait to see what's going to happen. But the crowd here loves this team, and so I think that if it opens up, and that big question is, and I don't know the answer to it, if it would open up to the 25%.
Deshaun Jackson, obviously we saw what he did, and he's been apologizing for his words, certainly for the past week plus. Moving forward, have we seen all that Philly is going to offer as far as punishment is concerned, or might there be at some point a little bit more? Is this it?
I think this is it. I think that we don't know what he got fined, but it looks like he did get fined. At this stage, he's not being suspended. At least he's trying to at least make atones by talking to rabbis, trying to be as socially active as he can in a positive way. So he's done that. But, in the end, I think it's still going to be one that he'll be under review. But I think that the punishment's all there, and he deserved the punishment.
How do you like the way that Washington's handling this situation, in particular owner Daniel Snyder, and then you kind of walk into it if you're Ron Rivera, your first year on the job, and you get into this? How is this being handled from the ownership end and from the head coach as well as a spokesperson?
Well, it's a panic right now, and I thought the fitting thing is when you saw his release on Friday, he kind of put it in regards to what I think his priorities are, because he basically had no choice, but he wanted to say that the sponsors, the fans, naturally putting the sponsors ahead of the fans, because he's been doing that for years, because you've had many fans and many non-fans of the Redskins saying to change the name, and he wouldn't listen, and he even went as far as 2013 to even put in capital letters never. Well, now he did do it because the sponsors were turning on him, his ownership group was turning on him, the city of D.C. was turning on him because they weren't going to put a stadium with a Redskin name on there, and so he basically had no choice. So how he handles it, I guess, since Friday on, he's handled it well, and then for the many years before that, he didn't.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. John Clayton's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So what lies ahead for Josh Gordon, John?
I think he's going to come back in. I mean, because in that case, he's been living here in Seattle and working out. I think that as long as he can get a negative test a couple times, I think he'll be reinstated. And if that's going to be the case, I think there's a great chance that he's going to just stay here and be a Seattle Seahawk. He liked it. They liked him. He's certainly not going to be too expensive because, again, they brought him in and for a little over $2 million last year, but then he gets a suspension for 4 games. And, unfortunately, what ended up prompting the problems was that he had his brother died in November. And that kind of got everything spiraling in a negative direction. So he went back on some drugs and whatever that was. He had a PED test. But I do think that there's a decent chance that he's going to be cleared and then get back into this league, and I think it would be with Seattle.
What are the chances on, A, he keeps the straight and narrow going, and I guess, B, just from a player standpoint, what value would he have with the Seahawks in mind there?
It's a pretty good value because he's a good player. I mean, you're talking about a player who's not at the level that he was when he came into the second year in the league when he got over 100 catches. But, he's got downfield ability. He's a decent route runner. He's physical. He's good. And so he basically would come here and be the third receiver, because they've got you've ever heard this name, Philip Dorsett?
Yeah, we've heard that a little bit around here, yes.
Phillips, the third receiver now with his 4.33 speed, and they have David Moore as a third option, and they also have a slot guy that they're developing in John Ursua. But they liked him, and more importantly, Russell Wilson liked him. Now, I know that Russell has been kind of campaigning for Antonio Brown, but I think if you get him Gordon, who's been to the Pro Bowl and has been real talented, I think that Russell will be signing off on it and be real happy.
Oh, that's a hell of a segue right there. You kind of just read my mind regarding Antonio Brown. So let's jump in there. Is there going to be a tipping point where this is going to be the last that we hear about him in the NFL?
Could be, yeah, because he's starting to run out of chances. And remember, I mean, it's not just the assault that he had and pled guilty to with the moving van. I mean, you have two women. Now, again, this is more legal issues than anything else because these aren't police charges or anything of that nature. But you have two domestic type of things that he's involved with, and now not that this applies, but I guess the home that he was renting. Now he's got all kind of things to pay there. So there's all these different issues with him. The renting part aside, but my guess is with the assault that he's going to have to get a suspension. And then we'll see about the other two incidences. But like everything in the league office and nationwide, things are moving slowly.
No doubt about that. All right, John Clayton joins us. Final thing here. I want to get your thoughts on what you think. Will we see an NFL season start on time and finish to completion?
The finish to completion, I can't say because I can't say how bad things will be at some point in the fall. And again, it's like we're still in the first wave of this one, and you can see how bad it is because now technically it's worse than it was when it started. I mean, particularly you look at the problems in Florida, Texas, and California, and Arizona, and many other states. It's bad. And so that puts things in a very questionable state. And, if they can't get this deal done with the players by Friday, then I think it's going to be delayed 2 weeks. Now, what they can do is that would delay 2 weeks of the regular season, and that's not moving the season back. They would just readjust week 1 and week 2 and take them and move them back because there's bye-week matchups that they have, particularly from week 2. So then you would start the third week or so, or whatever the third week goes in September. But if they can't get something done by Friday, I think it pushes everything back 2 weeks. But I think there will be a season. They can start the season on time, but they can't start it if they don't have agreements on the protocol.
I know that they're trying to keep as competitive of a balance as possible. Are they going to be able to ultimately do that with everybody, considering all the different areas and things that are going on in some places, as you just mentioned, that just simply aren't in others?
Well, see, and my thought is, again, I'm not for the players with the tests every day because it takes away tests from you, me, and everybody listening and everybody else. That's not good. But my read on it should be what you do is here's how you create a bubble in those 4 states and others because you're going to have more safety in your facility than any place that you move. Because you have control of the sanitation, you have control of trying to keep it, you have all your equipment and everything else, you're not moving all that stuff, and you're not having to find different living conditions. The bubble, I think, should be the players would have to agree to basically say, okay, for this short period of time or this long period of time when we start camp, we're in 2 places. We're in a hotel, and we're in the facility, and we'll have control over that, and you can't go out. You can't be with your family until they do that. If you can do that, and of course, more than important than anything else, the states have to, basically shut things down because then by not shutting things down, things are getting worse, not better. And until they do that, then it doesn't matter where you go; it's going to get worse. But I think you create a bubble by having everybody go to 2 places. And of course, the one thing I know that the players are trying to campaign for, they don't want to have an NFI, which can allow a team not to pay if you get a positive test. But the one thing is, you have to allow if you go and go hang out and go drinking and put yourself in a socially bad situation where you get the virus there, then you have to have the ability not to pay the person.
Yeah, the other aspect of it is, well, you do that and you jeopardize everybody else in that locker room and their well-being. The reaction is going to be swift and strong, I'm assuming, behind the scenes, John.
Oh, no question. That's why, again, there's going to have to be sacrifices. I mean, again, from the player standpoint, they're sacrificing their families, themselves, in doing this by, being willing to practice and being willing to play. I don't think there should be a preseason game. I think, to where the players are saying it's too risky and you're not going to make any money on the thing. I mean, you make a little bit of TV money, but nobody's going to be allowed to be in the stands, from what I would gather. And so, just concentrate on getting ready for the regular season, but get something done by Friday so you can have the start of the regular season on time.
Do you think there's a chance that we don't see preseason games?
I think so, yeah. Because, when the joint committee with the players and the owners got together, they said shorten the preseason. And, of course, they shortened it from 4 to 2. But I think J.C. Tretter raises a good point. It's like, now, wait a second. Why should we, risk injury? Because, again, the thing that he brought up the best, and this is something I've been charting since 2012, you go back to 2011 when they had the lockout. Coming off a lockout where there was no off-season program, there was 10 Achilles tendon tears in the first 12 days of practice, and Achilles tendons, they all got doubled from the injuries from the previous season. There was a 44% increase in hamstring injuries over the previous season. There was 51 ACLs, and that's all you're going to see, all through training camp and every step of the way. It's just expected because everybody's trained on their own, and that's not necessarily a good thing. And so the injury factor, the fact that you have the chance of spreading the virus, and it's like to do this just to get 1 or 2 tests of how you're going to be able to do games, forget that. Just do the games.
Hey, John, final thing before I let you go here. The brother of Dak Prescott has hit social media. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
There's a reason I was never a Dallas Cowboys fan growing up or before they drafted Dak. After today, who knows how much longer I'll be cheering for them.
Wow. Pretty strong.
So you got to keep your family, I think, off of social media when you're going through stuff like this, don't you?
It would be a good idea because you know how Jerry Jones feels about Dak. I mean, he wins 65% of his games. He completes 64% of his passes, and he's a good guy. But it's like they're in a tough spot right now with no deal.
There. Hey, you are awesome, man. Absolutely everything answered. Stay safe. You and the fam up in Seattle. We'll do it again soon. Okay, John?
Okay, sounds good.
It's John Clayton on the Eddie Moore Automotive Group hotline. I think did I just go 29 minutes with John Clayton? And there wasn't it was all informational. Listen, you don't have to listen about the NFL again for a damn week after that. Holy crap. That was good. That was really good. I had to make sure that was Dak Prescott's brother. Come on, man. 65% of his passes completed. Ooh. John Clayton on the Eddie Moore Automotive Group hotline. That was good. Top of the hour, Kevin Bowen. 1075thefan.com. The latest on Victor Oladipo. Spoke to the media today via Zoom down in the Orlando bubble. We got some sound from that. We'll get to that coming up a little bit later on. And again, I will rehash with you my thoughts on where both Vic and the Pacers stand presently going into the remainder of the season. Scott Hoke's going to join us from the Mecum Auto Auction and NBC Sports Network coming up at 5:30 today, too. 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
It's the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe.
Dave Revson.
The Big Ten made a decision. If they're going to play, they're going to try to do it as safely as possible, and they're going to try to eliminate as many variables as they can. We're not guaranteeing that we're playing. We're not saying that we're going to play all the conference games. We're just saying we're not playing the non-conference games.
The Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. Weekday mornings, 7 till 10. Only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hubler Honda has moved. The new Honda Superstore is now open, and we're celebrating with grand opening savings. Right now, you can lease a new 2020 Honda HR-V LX with all-wheel drive for only $189 a month. Or drive a new 2020 Honda CR-V LX with all-wheel drive for just $239 a month. Plus, during the Honda Summer Clearance Event, you'll get clearance pricing on all Honda models with our exclusive 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty included. Only at Hubler Honda's new Superstore in Taylorsville. Or click HublerHonda.com.
Hurry to Hubler Honda, home of the 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty.
Hubler has it all. On approved credit. 36-month lease with 12,000 annual miles. Zero security. HRV $25.99 to its signing. CRV $28.99 to its signing. Tax, title, dealer fees not included. Must finance with Honda Financial Services. See dealer for details. Expires 7/31/20.
Hey, it's JMV here, and Tiger's back, and that means, well, we're in for an epic weekend of golf. If you're as excited as I am about the return, then you'll want to celebrate with me on FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sports betting site. It's FanDuel Sportsbook for a reason. So easy to use, simple, intuitive app. Makes it easy to find that bet you're looking for, then lock it in. Fast payouts, which you love, and hey, more ways to bet. I mean, their promos make it fun. But right now, how about this? You download FanDuel Sportsbook and check out their fantastic app for yourself, and be sure you sign up by using my promo code JMV. This is what you need. My promo code JMV to claim your exclusive $500 risk-free bet. The promo code is JMV for your exclusive $500 risk-free bets. Yeah, make a bet maybe on Tiger or something this weekend that will work, and you can find it. Just use the promo code JMV. 21 plus and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer in Hancock County is Right Away Heating and Cooling. Owner Keith Barnett can keep your home comfortable as the weather heats up. They take extra safety measures during this health crisis while getting your system ready. Ask about the AccuClean electronic air cleaner that kills up to 99.98% of the airborne particles like viruses in the air. Get a hold of them at rightawayoffers.com or call 317-513-4736. Right Away Heating and Cooling is your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
Quick Shred now protects your identity not only by shredding, but by erasing and recycling electronics in their expanded full-service location at 62nd and Binford. 1 out of every 3 people will lose their identity this year. Protect your identity with Quick Shred. Recycle old computers, monitors, cell phones, printers, and flat-screen TVs. Quick Shred works hard to protect your identity. Visit QuickShredIndy.com. Quick Shred's open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and Saturdays 9 to 2. Quick Shred.
Hey, John here for CarX. CarX in your central Indiana locations, run by Joe Childers. Check it out. The ones nearest you can be found. CarX.com. And there's a reason why they can be found. The reason why you're looking is because you get the best service on your car, truck, or van than you'll find anywhere. Trustworthy, knowledgeable technicians to get the job done right. All right. We're going to get really hot here coming up, right? Got to make sure that you're comfortable in your car, truck, or van, don't you? Make sure that AC is up to snuff right now with a quick and an easy once-over, just to make sure you're going to be comfortable to and from wherever you're going. The best in brakes, the best in tires, the best prices you're going to find any place, the best overall service. Tell Joe Childers I sent you. To find that CarX location nearest you online, CarX.com. Don't worry. Call the CarX man.
Sports with Dan Dockich.
Scott Dixon. I think it's definitely what's come out of the COVID situation with some of these weekends where we've got 2 or 3 big categories that have never raced together. Is going to be pretty awesome, I think. Hopefully that will be somewhat of a norm maybe in the next few years, at least to have 2 or 3 of the races like this. But really cool to see different cars, different sounds of cars. Once they get fans back, I think it's going to be loved.
Dan Dockich, weekdays, noon till 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Double M writes this, JMV, Dak's brother with a brilliant tweet. You and Big Clayton were wrong. Dak needs more fire. There's a little, is that a fire? More flame? Like that to put pressure on the Cowboys. He needs to be willing to walk away and test free agency. I think he meant fire on that. Fire. It's an emoji. Josh Whitson says, John Clayton just said on your show that the virus was worse than when the whole thing started. Does anyone seem to know that deaths are down nearly 90% from the peak? 90% plus recovery rate, but sports media doesn't look at it that way. John is in Seattle, so he may look at it differently, Josh, than where you're sitting right now, and may get different numbers than what you see right now. Let me tell you this. As far as the sports media, hoping. I mean, you think I'm sitting here hoping that there is a FUBAR football season, that things don't get played? Are you outside your mind? Do you just not have any sense in general? There is nobody, and I mean nobody, that wants sports back, that wants a sense of normalcy back than me. Man, I don't give a damn about what anybody thinks is propaganda or this or that. I'm not looking at it politically, all right? I just hate that. Everybody just whines and cries about the damn media all the time. Just leave me out of it. I mean, you guys have listened to me for 15, 16 years. You know where I stand on everything. I don't have to tell you on a daily basis that I tell you the truth. You want to know why? Because you know. Because you already know. It doesn't have to be reinforced when you know. Why do I need to tell you every day? There's no way in the world I'm going to sit here and wish doom and gloom on everything. That would suck. Hey, listen, I like doing the JMV takeover, but I love this. This is the gig. So yeah, don't lump me. Maybe you weren't, but don't lump me in that category, all right? Just don't. Again, for 16 years, I've never had to reinforce on a minute-by-minute basis that I'm telling you the truth and nobody else is, because you guys know that I'm telling you the truth. It's already understood. And I've been able to build that over 16-plus years, and I'm confident in that. So, yeah, don't lump me in that category, if you don't mind. And if you didn't mean to, my bad. But I just thought it was time to point that one out. Scott Patterson writes this. What a fantastic conversation. Tons of insightful information. We were just talking about this during the break, Kyle and I. And John Clayton's like a buzzsaw of NFL. I mean, it's funny. I handle people differently. Normally, I will reserve knowing 3 questions ahead what I'm going to ask for those that have really short answers, right? Trying to think. Like Andrew Luck was really short answer guy. Andrew Luck was short answer guy, and unlike really once your quarterback, and it's okay if your quarterback has different interests, but when your quarterback wants to talk about soccer or wants to talk about architecture or talk about music, that's probably not great for your team, right? I mean, because you want them to have longer than, I don't know, a 10-word sentence on talking about football. But, he's a short answer guy. I was trying to think other short answer guys. Like when Vic's been on the show before, Vic's a short answer guy too, Victor Oladipo. He's a short answer guy. John Clayton's not a short answer guy, but he gets through it so quickly and so insightfully that you got to be ready like 3 questions down the road. I was telling Kyle, I prepare for John Clayton like he's going to give me a 5-word answer. This is from Skivvies, JMV. What do we think Vic's teammates think about all this? Play, not play. Here's what I think. How many of Vic's teammates really know Vic outside of Miles and Domas? You know what I mean by that? Does that make sense? Like, this team has had a not-so-subtle facelift. I don't know how close Miles and Vic are. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. And I know that Vic is close with Domas, but there are a lot of new faces. I don't know how close he and Brogdon are, how close he and some of the teammates are. I think it's different than you're looking at Vic right now, Skivvies, with this group than it was maybe 2 years ago with that group. Here's the other part about it, too. For the most part, these guys all fall in line on these business decisions. I mean, they all fall in line. So I would guess right now, Skivvies, to answer your question, that they're probably not very concerned about it. Or at least they're not going to tell you. Maybe they would behind the scenes, but they certainly wouldn't make that public. I think for the most part, they let one another deal with their business decisions, and you look across the board on this roster. I don't know. I would be kind of curious the close relationships. Maybe Vic is close with McConnell. You saw him playing golf the other day. I'm not sure, but this doesn't seem like there's been a switch from the way that it was 2 years ago. So just a couple of points, certainly. 239-1070. Is this Junior or JR here? JR?
Yeah. Hey, John. How are you?
I'm great. Go ahead, JR.
Hey, listen. Thanks for taking my call. I want to elaborate on what you said about the sports media. And I listen. First of all, sports is a huge part of my life. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I listen to the radio all day long, and this. There's a new guard. It's like the changing of the guard as it's related to the media. And, I look at guys like yourself and Dan is historic for saying, he's not a member of the media. And I never really got it until recently. This slap that's on yesterday with you, that's Victor's guy, he wants to be part of the story. He doesn't want to report it amicably. He doesn't want to be honest about it. He just wants to be part of the story. And I think like the old school guys like R and Bill Benner, and these guys that have been around for years, they were masters of their craft. And I'm throwing you in there because, like you said, you've proven your value over 16 years. You're not trying to rush out to break some story that's half true. And I think the problem is it's a changing of the guard, and it just drives me crazy that we have to put up with this nonsense. I mean, these guys. I mean, you're responsible for talking about sports and bringing joy to people, not trying to rush out and break some half truth. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm sick of it.
Well, hey, JR, hey, thank you for the call, JR. I appreciate that, and keep listening. Here's the thing about me. Kyle and I were talking about this the other day. I could come on here every day and throw out just hot take after hot take that I didn't believe in. And I've never done that. And I will never do that. Hot take after hot take that I didn't believe in, but maybe I feel that listenership is down, or maybe I feel like that my name needs to be said in social media a little bit more. I mean, listen, I laugh because my reputation is probably known more for being just down home, not too bright dude, but I do have a reputation I would like to uphold as somebody that doesn't stir the pot just for the sake of stirring the pot. Or being an ass for the sake of being an ass. To hope somebody pays a couple of more looks to my Twitter handle or whatever. I do not care. I don't. I mean, I care what I say to you. I care what I say about people. I understand what happens when you say, when you're negative, when you're not. Listen, I've said this before, going back to the Colts with Dwayne Allen. Dwayne Allen and I were pretty tight. We talked all the time. All the time. And the one thing that I understood about that, I haven't talked to him in years now, because the last time I talked to him was really short in the fact that I was in London and I watched him play and watched the Colts play, and I had come back and I had to talk about how bad he was, and that pretty much was over. It's just the way that it is. But yeah, I mean, some of you get it. Listen, I know that there's a percentage of folks out there that probably would love to just ride on, people, yelling and screaming and acting like supreme buttholes. But that's just not going to be me. It's never been me. It's not going to be me. I mean, I see you guys out all the time, and we stop and talk, and just I'm the same as you are. I just have a 3-hour show to talk about sports and other stuff every week, Monday through Friday. I enjoy it very much. I get to do a little music on Saturday right now, and it's fun. But, again, nobody's rooting for sports to come back safely and as quickly as me. I mean, it's just me. I'm not trying to spread any stories to scare anybody. What's the term now? Fear porn? I used to dig on regular porn, but I sure as hell don't dig on any fear porn. I mean, I want stuff to be right at some point again. So I'm not going to give you that crap. That's just not how I'm built. I mean, if I ever felt that I was built that way or needed to be built that way, or that's how I had to be, then I wouldn't be motivated to want to do it. And Josh, I completely understand. You know what, Josh? I know that you weren't directing that at me personally, but you gave me the opportunity to state that, and I'm appreciative of it. Because sometimes I think a lot of people get covered up in the blanket, or overcome by the umbrella of, well, you're in the media, therefore you're negative, and you don't do what's right, you don't say what's true. The reason why I don't tell you all the time that I'm telling you the truth is because after 16 years, you know it. And I don't have to tell you. And that comes with reputation. So hopefully if I have a shred of that, to me, that's the best. Josh, but thank you, man. You got me down that path, and I appreciate it very much. Quick break, and we'll come back. Kevin Bowen, top of the hour. We'll talk about Vic and what he did and what he said meeting with the media earlier today, and how this whole under the bubble thing is going to work for him. How it's going to be viewed either about the money. Can it be viewed without being focused in on the money? Kevin Bowen, top of the hour. Scott Hoke of Meekum, NBC Sports Network, bottom of the 5. We're back with you next.
Kids, tell your parents about Forum Credit Union's Sprout of the Month contest, where you could win $100 in a Sprout account for college. Details at 1075thefan.com.
Hey, it's Rob Belushi from the Bill Estes Ford family in Brownsburg. Summer is here, and I finally get a break from homeschool. Brian has been teaching me about premium pre-owned vehicles.
Neither of us get a break until you pass this pop quiz. With 190 pre-owned vehicles on the lot, tell me why 70 of them are priced under $10,000.
While Bill Estes Ford sells the most new cars, we actually sell 4 times more pre-owned vehicles.
That's right, Rob. One of the reasons we advertise new cars is to help us get more trades.
That's why we get the best trades, and we give you more money for them. With double the lot size, we have more room for more cars to have more flexibility on our low prices.
This month, we have to move 190 nearly new vehicles, all priced below Kelley Blue Book.
Over 70 of those are priced under $10,000, and you still get $2,000 more for your trade.
And we offer
nearly 100% financing approval on nearly new cars.
Wow, the student has become the teacher.
This month, we have to move 190 pre-owned vehicles, all under Kelley Blue Book. Over 70 of those are under $10,000. Your key is waiting at Bill Estes Ford in Brownsburg.
It's our lowest mortgage rate in history. Golden Oak Lending has dropped rates to 2.5% fixed.
This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. Take advantage of this historic low rate and save hundreds on your mortgage every month.
If you have a mortgage, you could save, plus skip 2 house payments.
Use the equity in your home to pay off high-interest credit cards. Imagine no credit card debt and a lower monthly payment.
Lock in 2.5% now. If you want a lower rate or to get cash out, call us for a free mortgage checkup.
Plus, if we can't close your loan, the appraisal is no charge.
Apply online at goldenoaklending.com with our easy zipline mortgage, or call 317-706-GOLD. 706-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, conventional 15-year fixed, APR 2.655, 30% equity with approved credit. Regulated by the Indiana Department of Financial Institutions.
Hey, it's John here, so we're halfway through. I know it feels like we're probably 3 years deep now, but we're halfway through 2020. And you got some financial numbers you need to consider right now because we're at that halfway mark check. And, again, I got to thank Kevin and the gang at Forum Credit Union because I'm completely unaware of this. 6 important numbers to check mid-year. I'll give you a couple of examples here, like debt to income ratio. I don't even know what that is. Credit score, all this stuff that I don't know what it is that Kevin and Forum Credit Union clue me in on for better guidance financially, which is exactly what I need. Better financial guidance with their resources page online at forumcu.com. And hey, I'm so proud of this too. My daughter Lainey's 10, and we give away every month $100 to start a Sprout account for somebody's kid's college fund. That's the Sprout account. We do that. We make that announcement every month. We'll do it coming up here for the month of July. It's the Sprout account to get savings started for your child's college fund. The Sprout account, forumcu.com today.
As we adapt to what life looks like now, we recognize there are still concerns. Over the last few weeks, we have faced adversity and battled this historic virus, all while remaining vigilant and focused on the health and safety of those we are privileged to serve. At Franciscan Health, we look to a better tomorrow and are all in, all the time, on safely caring for you and your family. We're here and ready for you, always.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. The Ride with JMV.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Man, I love this song back in the day. Anybody else? You ever heard this song before? Ever heard of the Breeders? No. I loved this song back in the early 90s. This was when X103 across town was a damn big deal, man. This thing was rolling all the time. Cannonball. I got to do one of these days, I got to do another 90s. Another 90s takeover down the hall. An 80s coming up on Saturday. I'm going to give away the Yeti prize package, courtesy of Sullivan Hardware and Garden, coming up on Saturday night. Pictures and videos of how you're listening, what you're drinking, stuff like that. Or as Larry Bird once said, stuff like it. Saturday night, 6 until 10, and I'm all alone. So that's going to make it good. Glenn Richardson writes this, fear porn. I think that's a buzz term, right? For people that say that others, media members are trying to scare people into not wanting to do anything or whatever. Fear porn. I had S118 back in the day, so I know what regular porn is. S118 was a channel back in the day when you had a huge satellite dish that got everything and you got it for free because nobody knew you were stealing it. And once they figured it out, they scrambled it, then made you pay ultimately. S118 was American Triple Ecstasy. 6p until 6 in the morning. Outstanding. We had American Triple Ecstasy and Spice in the day. JMV, I was just rapping with my good bud Richie D, a.k.a. Itch Dog, and decided more Cincy chatter is needed in this city. I haven't been this hyped for a red season since my days slamming delicious little Skyline conies at Riverfront while heckling Dennis Eckersley's old ass. P.S. Why did Eckersley always look like a 53-year-old porn stash manager? Sincerely, Michael. I said 58-2. This is my call. 58-2. JMV, this is from Mike. Isn't Scott Hoke the guy who used to call the Pacer games on Fox? Yes, he worked for the Pacers back in the day. Pacers Network. And RTV6 back in the day. I think there was a time I think he and Ed Sorensen and Jake Query are all there together. And Dave First, too. I think at one time, all four of those dudes were there together. Pretty good stable. Quick break, and we'll come back. Scott Hoke joins us bottom of the 5 o'clock hour. Kevin Bowen, 107.5 The Fan. We'll talk Vic, other side next.
How much do you need to save for retirement? Hi, I'm Rick Edelman, founder of Edelman Financial Engines. The question's simple, but the calculation can be complex. How much you need to save for retirement depends on how much income you want, what outside sources you'll have, like Social Security and pensions. And here's the good news. You don't have to guess. We can give you the answer. For more than 32 years, we've shown people just like you how much you need to save for retirement and how to invest it. And now's your chance. Call us for the personal financial advice and investment management services you need with local offices to serve you. At Edelman Financial Engines, we're happy to help you whether you have a little to invest or a lot or anything in between. Come see why thousands of folks just like you rely on Edelman Financial Engines. Call us at 888-PLAN-RIC. That's 888-PLAN-RIC. Or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com.
Hey, got you covered here with CarX, CarX.com. Joe Childers run CarX locations in central Indiana. And that AC checkup. Get it today, because the last thing you want is a breakdown on some of the hottest days of the year that are approaching right now. So get into CarX. Let guys like Micah and Justin and Kevin down on 135 in Greenwood help you out. They're the absolute best. The technicians unmatched with their knowledge and their craftsmanship, and just great overall deals. Like the AC tune-up, the checkup, tires and brakes. Everything that you need in your car, truck, or van can be done by certified technicians and those that you trust. Tell Joe Childers I sent you. Log on today to find the CarX location nearest you, CarX.com. Don't worry. Call the CarX man.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like B&W Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
This is Indy Sports Center. WFNI, WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
As your favorites resume play, we're here to give you the latest. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
The sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Sounds like Always Be My Baby by Mariah Carey. That right? Oh, Kevin Bowen. 1075thefan.com is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Have you heard this one before?
Oh, yeah. I'm a fan of this one.
Mariah Carey, Always Be My Baby. You got plenty of baby songs out there for you.
My brother's getting married this weekend, John. I feel like you could even play this song at a wedding, maybe.
Now, did you have, I can't remember because I didn't get invited. At your wedding, did you have dancing and an open bar and stuff afterwards?
I'll never forget, probably, I don't know, honestly, maybe when I got engaged and Matt Taylor found out that I got engaged, his first piece of advice to me was, whatever you do, don't tell JMV that you're getting married, or certainly when the wedding is or where it is, because he will blast it all over the airwaves.
And I did. And I invited people over the air to Matt's party after. I can't even remember what is it called? Reception. His reception afterwards.
Yeah.
At the Rathskeller. I think the Rathskeller. Tony Donahue had a great story about what happened in the photo booth at the Rathskeller at that reception.
Oh God!
And there were like five to 10 people that just walked up and said, "Hey, JMV invited me to this. Can I have a beer?" I was proud. I don't know how his parents felt about it, but I was proud. So yeah.
Yeah, or the wife's parents. Yeah, we had an open bar. We had a nice dance floor at Xanadu. I don't know if you've ever seen them.
Oh, I love Xanadu's awesome, man. Well done.
Yeah. They were outstanding. Honestly, like one of the prerequisites from the family was like, we need a band. I think have you DJ'd some weddings? I feel like you have.
Back in the day I did. Yeah. Back in the day. I did it back in the day, and every time somebody, came up with me and wanted me to play a particular song that I was tired of hearing for their wedding song. I said, nah, don't do it. Like Moon Dance by Van Morrison. It's a wonderful night for a moon dance. I said, no, don't do that. Do something else. Something else.
So much for you being invited back.
Exactly.
Yes.
Probably hurt myself. Xanadu's a good, fun band. They play everything.
Yeah, they were absolutely awesome. It was a blast. Yeah, the party extended into the wee hours. I have a feeling, unfortunately, we won't be doing so much of that this weekend, considering everything going on. But I'm very, very happy that my brother's getting married to a wonderful, wonderful woman, and Kristen Krimp.
Fantastic. By the way, Jeremiah Johnson tells me that Xanadu played his wedding reception back in the day.
There we go.
Yeah.
Saw JJ on Monday. Yeah, I mean I feel like they've been around for quite a while. So we are huge fans
Xanadu
of them.
did their wedding in 2004, Grissom Air Force Base, says JJ.
Oh man, I didn't realize they've been around that long. Man, JJ's been married for that long.
I'm surprised too. Was he married? Was he in Terre Haute at the time, or did he get married here? I can't remember when he got here.
Yeah, I mean 2004. Has he been? I don't know. I mean,
I don't think he was here yet. I still think he was at TWO in Terre Haute in 2004.
Yeah. I mean, Xanadu's going on at least 20 years strong of doing weddings. Hell, they're probably longer than that. I can't say I know their history, but.
So does your brother have a band for the reception? Is there a band for this reception?
I don't think so. Unfortunately, they've had to dial it back big time. She's from a huge family in Jasper, so the wedding reception's honestly only like 35 people.
Did I ever tell you how much love I have for Jasper chicks? I do. I have a deeply rooted love back in the day for Jasper chicks, because I'm gonna tell you what, when you had a party, the Jasper chicks came to party, brother. They came to party. Like I'd be drinking, beer out of the keg, and these chicks would roll up with a half gallon glass bottle of Calvert Extra. I mean, it was keep up or go home. I was always impressed with that. Always.
That is. I thought you said they'd be bringing some, German Kager to the party. That early.
Hey, beer was for breakfast, brother, with them, with the Jasper chicks. I mean, it was. Yeah, you're going to drink some whiskey or you're going home. It was incredible, and they could drink dudes under the table like nobody's business.
That is impressive. Well, Kristen's more of a wine girl.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll let you know. I'll give you the report next Wednesday on how the family does at the old open bar at Prairie View Golf Course where we're having it.
No, you're having it Prairie View. You're having it up here then, right? Okay. That'd be a good time.
Yeah, it was going to be at a downtown venue, but unfortunately can't socially distant with that. So got to get a little outdoors. Got to get on a patio action. So. That's what we'll be doing.
Just get incredibly drunk.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. The mother-in-law's babysitting the 1-month-old, so hopefully that'll be accomplished.
It's a Kevin Bowen, 1075thefan.com. Congratulations to your brother and his lovely bride, too. That's spectacular. It is.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. I want to start with the Oladipo stuff today. This whole thing, the flip-flopping thing, it's just funny when you look back. I mean, Bobby Marks brought this up when Vic made that decision, made that announcement with Shams as he did. Bobby Marks brought it up with us saying, I don't know why he did it right now because he's costing himself $3 million. Was there some lip service you think given today? Is this going to be more about in hopes of getting paid, or is there actually Vic getting down there, feeling good, and wanting to openly, for real, participate?
Yeah, it's obviously a good question. I tend to think is $3 million really that much money to him when if he is a true believer in that he's susceptible to a soft tissue injury, and he said it again today, he said it very early on in the call of him going down there, him not playing well, everybody writing about it, and then all of a sudden that would, lower his market value for the 2021 summer of when he's a free agent. I mean, that could be a quick $3 million over the course of 5 years. Yeah. So, I I know that $3 million is $3 million, but when you're talking about a guy that could be signing a contract of upwards of, whatever, 120 some million or whatever that number could be next summer, is it really that much in the grand scheme of things? I just, after the 18-minute call today, I still am confused on why he decided to say that he was out on July 3rd. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. There was no need to do that. There was no deadline. There was absolutely nothing. And his handlers just handled that situation totally wrong.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a great answer for that.
He may want to stop taking some of that advice. Seriously. I mean, he may, because the situation, Kev, that he's in now is this. It's going to take a lot for people to believe, even if he does play down there, to believe that he is doing it for the reasons with his teammates in winning basketball for the Pacers as opposed to making sure that he gets paid. And it's going to take a lot.
Yeah, it is. And, it seemed like, when he announced that back on July 3rd, it was, okay, I don't feel comfortable because I haven't tested myself in the 5-on-5 setting. And yet, the fact that they hadn't gone 5-on-5 yet, it was kind of like, well, why are you not waiting and seeing? Because the Pacers are perfectly clear. They have made it very clear throughout this process that, just speaking about this restart, they were going to let Victor be one of their 35 people going down there. And Jeremy Lamb is down there. Jeremy Lamb's got no shot to play. Like, they're perfectly comfortable with allowing some of these, long-term injury guys, specifically Lamb, to be down there and count towards that number. So when I hear this, and I'm like, why wouldn't you to me, if I were his publicist and his people, if he goes down there and at least test it out or, whatever, and he's just like, yeah, I don't feel totally comfortable with this, I'm going to probably back out, that at least, okay, you've given a chance of playing. You have got down there, whatever, if you don't feel comfortable from a COVID standpoint or a soft tissue injury standpoint, you've at least tried. And so I don't understand why the July 3rd thing even was created. Are you trying to create more drama? Are you trying to create more theatrics? Like, I don't understand whatsoever why they did that. Because if you take that out and you just listen to what Victor has said throughout this and what the Pacers have said, it kind of all adds up. Early on, Kevin Pritchard, very early on, back in the spring, of saying, when the season was first halted, of saying, yeah, when we do restart, if we restart, Victor will be on a minutes restriction. Well, then, he comes back and he looks good, but we still want to see him on 5-on-5. Nate McMillan talked more about that. And then, all of this happens. And I go back to the Sham story from a couple weeks ago of him, saying that Victor's not going to play. And Victor's trainer, had so many quotes in that story of saying it is a lot to ask Victor to come back into playoff form in 3 weeks of 5-on-5. So that question still looms for me right now from his trainer of saying, it takes a full 2 years to be ready to go, and now you're going to put him into this bubble. He's only going to have 3 weeks to ramp it up. Now my mind kind of shifts to everything Victor said today sounds like he's going to play. And you don't leak that to Shams earlier in the week if you're not going to give it a go. Now, what does he look like? What does his role look like in the final 8 regular season games? And then just how effective is he?
And is he just jumping? Is he going to jump in there and go, yeah, I can't do it, and then come back out? And the problem that he has now, in the court of public opinion at least, is those emotional ties and those beliefs that he's doing what's right around here have faded and gone for many. And people just aren't going to believe it. I mean, they won't, like it or not, and that's kind of the situation that he and his folks painted him into right now. Where everybody, I think, you go back 2 weeks ago, and had he just said and done what everybody had been told they were going to do, and then you realize you can't go, or even if you went down there fully knowing you weren't really going to play, I don't think many would be to the wiser of it. You'd wonder why it's taken so damn long, but you would be none the wiser about it, and you certainly wouldn't have this negative reaction, the speculation, this criticism that's been going on right now that I think it's hurtful for everybody all the way around.
Agreed. And, this is something that I was thinking back to earlier in the spring, when the whole quarantine, first happened, and you saw all these transfers in college basketball, even college football. And that, to me, is a product of everyone going home and their high school coaches and their trainers and their AAU coaches telling them how good they are and how horrible that their current situation is. And if they are in a different environment, they could be used in a better way or play better, all those things. And you see all these transfers. And I almost look at this as like Victor went home and all those people are even more around him. And they're telling him, man, I just think you could be used better. They haven't built a championship team around you. You need to go here. What about teaming up with this guy? What about doing that? Just seems like a lot of people have his ear right now.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's a lot of it right there. It's a lot of it, including, like I told you last week, including an old friend of everybody's around here, Paul George, has said the same thing. So he's talked. He has talked. Everybody will laugh at that and think that I'm holding a grudge. I don't care, because there's nothing I would love more than for Paul George conversation to be out of our lives completely. Alas, it's relevant here because that has taken place.
Yeah, and it feels honestly like I'm watching an episode of The Bachelor or, whatever your entertainment television show is here, of like ABC is controlling this narrative of, okay, watch this. Say that you're not going to play, and then boom, you're going to come back in a couple of weeks, and then you're going to be looked at as this hero again. And I'm just like, what are his people thinking that like this is the right way to go about his business? Because if the goal was to get this $3 million, Victor wouldn't have said what he said a couple weeks ago when he admitted or said, and I thought was honest about it, I feel better today than I did when the Pacers played Boston, back on March 11th or whatever it was. So, like, in my opinion, the whole NBA versus NBA PA, that argument, Victor almost was like the perfect witness for the league, because he has said on record back in, early July, I think it was 2 weeks ago today, actually, that, I feel better than I did back in March when I was playing. So he's clearly indicated that he feels like he's healthy enough to give it a go. Maybe not give it a go in, 35, 38 minutes a night, but at least give it a go in some capacity. So just, it's one thing to have the mixed messaging, but like when the mixed messaging just totally doesn't even add up to helping out your own client, it just seems like the wrong people, again, are getting inside of his brain.
Yeah. I had Shams Sharani on yesterday, and I was going through a lot of things, and and rightly so. I mean, most of the things that I ask about, how if Victor and the organization are on the same page. I know Vic thanked the organization and said all the right things today, but I asked him that. I asked him about Vic's thought on Nate McMillan, thoughts on wanting to be here longer term. I mean, he sidestepped all that and just went with the stuff that he had reported up until the point. But I still firmly believe that there is absolutely something under the surface here that nobody knows that they're trying to keep hidden right now. So, and I'm going to forever believe that until it's dismissed. I don't know if playing will dismiss it. I don't know, but that's just the whole feeling of something being wrong, because we've been through so much in the past 3 years, whether it's a quarterback, or a former star basketball player here. I think people have reasons to have a radar up, and they certainly do here until they're no longer given a reason for that. And I think Vic and those around him have given plenty ammunition to that in the last couple of weeks.
Your head coach had to find out on Twitter that his star player wasn't going to play in Orlando. I mean, just the optics of that is horrible. And the fact that the Pacers, I feel like, have handled this situation really, really well, and they know that they're backed into a corner and that they have to play Mr. Nice Guy with all of this and swallow their pride, even if they want to say some things publicly that might differ from exactly how they're wording it. But Nate McMillan has to be that guy because he is the spokesperson for this franchise right now. He had to do it back in January. When Victor first announced he was coming back, I mean, that wasn't the Pacers announcing that. If I'm not mistaken, that was Victor through Shams announcing it back then. And now he's done it again. And then earlier this week, he leaked. Clearly somebody in his camp has leaked to Shams, who isn't, in Orlando, that he is, having these second thoughts and thinking about playing again. And in my opinion, when I heard that, it's like, if you're going to leak that, you have to play. Like, you've got to try and give it a go. So hearing him talk today, I feel like at this point, which sounds crazy because I feel like it's like a modern day soap opera that we're watching here with this story, he's got to give it a go, or else it'll look even worse. And honestly, probably look worse, or at least get more people skeptical about him physically. Like, people are already questioning.
And that's part of it too. I mean, the whole time it takes. How can you still be injured after all this time? How can you still feel this way? I said that earlier. I mean, market value is important for Oladipo and important for the Pacers and all this moving forward. And, I mean, who knows what the NBA is going to look like? I mean, how many teams going into the start of next year are going to want to spend a lot of money? I mean, there's going to be a lot of unanswered questions for the time being. And I'm sure people, like you mentioned, are going to be incredibly skeptical about how long this has taken and if he will ever be what he was for 1 year, 2 years ago.
Right. And the Pacers can offer him, that longer extension, which I believe pays him a little bit more money than anyone else in the league can do this offseason. Like, whatever that small window is going to be from October to when the next season starts. So if you're Victor and you have a setback or you don't play as well in Orlando, this leads to another question of if the Pacers should give him that sort of extension this offseason. Me personally, I would not, but that's another debate for a different day. But if the Pacers do hand him that, do you look at it and say, man, this might be the best that I get? Or am I going to bet on myself, in this final year on that contract year, which if you were to do that, then you're showing your hand completely to what you think of, the Pacers and you being that long-term marriage that so many people thought was just a guarantee after his first season here in Indiana.
No, I don't have exactly. I mean, exactly. And then really, we got two sides that seem like that they haven't been on the same page that are going to have to get together, at least in the short, and help by virtue of his play and his hopeful health, help whatever market value, whatever destination anybody has in mind, because, right now it's not going to cut it. It just simply isn't.
And, I think an honest conversation that Kevin Pritchard has to have, with his management team is this. They got return for Paul George. The reason that the rebuild wasn't as immense as it, probably many thought it would be with losing Paul George is because you got Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis, and Kevin pulled off a terrific trade in doing that. Well, now you are looking at a situation where the return for Victor, I don't think it won't lead you, the same sort of package that you're able to get for Paul. But do you look at it as like, we've got to get something? If he walks and you get no one for him next summer, how far does that put you behind the eight ball? Because this franchise has always preached and maintained a consistency that, it is very impressive. While they haven't, advanced as deep as many fans would like them to in the playoffs. And here recently, they haven't got out of the first round over the last handful of years. They have that long running, stat of not drafting in the top 10, I think in my lifetime. So if Victor does walk, now all of a sudden you are scrambling big time to try and, put the pieces together for a team that will consistently be a playoff team in the Eastern Conference.
All right, let me give you a couple of hypotheticals. Kevin Bowen, 1075thefan.com is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Here's one. Let's say Victor does play. And, is without swelling is what I've been told is what they're looking for right here, and can play. Does that change your thought on how this team may or may not look while beneath the bubble in Orlando?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if he can give you, I mean, obviously he had that moment in the Boston game, the final game before the break. My thing was we didn't see him attack the basket enough, and I thought he just played a little bit of hesitancy in getting to the rim and finishing at the rim. If he can show strides with that, I think it's a team that can definitely win a first-round series. Now, I think the matchup is key. I think playing Miami is the best suited thing for them. But if Victor can show more of that, of the attacking mindset, not settling and relying on a jump shot that was very streaky, in those first 13 games back, then I do think this is a team. But, so many people are like, well, look what the Pacers did without Victor, early on in the year. I mean, you got to remember, they did have Jeremy Lamb for virtually all that time. Now if all of a sudden Victor is dialed back or doesn't play, then it's Aaron Holiday, it's Edmund Sumner taking on much bigger roles. But I think if Victor can show that he's out there on the floor for you, and again, he just has more confidence in attacking the rim and finishing at the rim at a decent clip, then I do think this is a team capable of, probably winning one series. I can't go any further than that.
Yeah, I just think that as much as we don't know, this is going to be the biggest crapshoot, at the very least, until teams, get their groove, find their feet beneath them, whatever. This is going to be the biggest crapshoot we've ever seen for the end of a season and then going into the postseason. Because, I mean, who the hell knows? And then you add in the specter of, what might happen as far as COVID-19 is concerned. We've never, ever seen anything like this. I think it's going to be a jump ball for many teams, at least certainly more so than we thought it was going to be when the season was suspended back in March.
Yeah. Hey, I think something that I always have not loved about the NBA is the gap in the first round series, like 1-8, 2-7, is really, really big. You just kind of write those series off. You're just like, all right, the 1 seed's going to win, the 2 seed's going to win. Whereas, Major League Baseball, it's a little smaller playoff format. It's much closer. The NFL, obviously, it's one and done, and it's much closer as well. But in the NBA, it's just kind of, you've always chalked up those seeds as moving on at least one round, if not two. And I feel like what this environment in Orlando and the 4-month break and all of that, it's just shrunk the parity ceiling, if you will, to where I don't think there's as wide of a gap as it normally is. I know there's some bad teams that are going to be the 8 seed or the 7 seed, but maybe in those second round games, I think it can be a lot closer to those 1 or 2 seeds, being beaten. So I think that is the big advantage that you have down there. And like you said, there is the uncertainty of the whole COVID looming cloud of if one star gets it. I know everyone's like, if LeBron gets it, they're immediately going to shut it down. I mean, how can you be like, well, if, TJ McConnell gets it, we're not going to shut it down. But if LeBron gets it, we are. I mean, if LeBron gets it, I mean, you still got to keep playing. Like, let's say it's just one isolated case. Like, you still are going to have to keep on playing. And obviously those teams are going to look totally different, hence what Golden State looked like last year when they started having some of their injury issues late in the playoffs as well. So I do feel like from an entertainment standpoint, it'll be must watch just for a little bit more of early round uncertainty, which I feel like the NBA hasn't had enough of.
How many of their 8-game regular season ending contests do you think the Pacers win?
I think I've seen the over-under at 4.5.
Yeah.
I'd probably go 4. What do they got? They got Philly, Miami.
Can you believe they get Philly? I mean, for somebody like me that's backed Miles Turner and has been without the Miles Turner stuff for a while, right out of the damn gate. I mean, right out of the gate. Right out of the gate. I wonder if Miles understands how much he could help me if he had a really good start against Philly. So my Twitter timeline doesn't just fire it up like it always does during a Pacer season. I haven't missed that.
Yeah, Joel Embiid is probably pretty darn happy to see that.
Oh, easy. Easy.
Right? I mean, he's obviously going to play. It's not a back-to-back or anything like that. What do they have? Do they have the Lakers a little bit later, and they have Houston, I think, a little bit later?
They got Miami. They got Miami and the Butler-Warren saga, part 2, finally. So they got – their schedule's tough in those 8 games.
This is something I think you and I talked about maybe early on, but of like you're Mike Budenholzer, you're Frank Vogel, how do you approach this? Once you lock into your seed, because really home court doesn't matter, obviously, but, from a seeding standpoint, you probably want to play the 8 seed, but do you look at it as, okay, I'm going to full on rest guys like I would do in a normal 82-game season once we've clinched? Or do you look at, I want to knock off some rust for these guys, which then in the back of your mind, you're thinking, boy, the soft tissue injuries and all of those things, how much of a risk do you want to take? So, Philly's obviously going to play their guys because they're still playing for seeding, and they want to. I guess they maybe they don't want to get to 4 or 5, but I think right now teams probably want to play Indiana, honestly, in the middle of the pack if Victor's not going to play. But then at the same time, if you get to 4 or 5, and that's where the Pacers are, then you get Milwaukee in round 2. But I just think there might be a question when you get to Houston and the Lakers in the back half of that 8-game schedule for the Pacers. Are they going to be locked into seeds and not want to play? Harden, Westbrook, LeBron, Anthony Davis, all of them have their own individual issues from COVID-related, injury-wise, whatnot. So I think that'll be a big question in seeing just how difficult the 8-game schedule looks on paper now to how it turns out to be.
I'm excited to see Chris Middleton touch a basketball for the first time in 3 months. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, didn't he say he hasn't?
3 months.
What was his comment?
He said he hadn't touched he didn't touch the basketball for 3 months, is what he said. Now, you can take this 2 different ways. You can take it like I did and go, you got to be kidding me, or you can think that he's full of crap. But either, to me, if you say that, right, you have that out there and you are not even close to your all-star level and play for crap, you're going to wear that for a while.
And how does, Giannis allow that? I mean,
Giannis didn't have a goal either, I don't think.
Yeah, but some of this, I don't know how much I believe.
I know. That's why I ask. I mean, maybe don't believe it. But it makes for an interesting story. I don't think there's any question. Hey, congratulations to your brother and the family this weekend. Have a great time up at Prairie View. By all means, nobody go up to Prairie View and nobody crash the wedding party up there, okay? I'm telling people, don't do it. At Prairie View in Carmel, Saturday, don't crash the Bowen family wedding party. Don't do it. Is that good?
Sometimes I'm just like, why do I even tell you these things?
You don't do it.
Why do I even do that?
Don't crash it.
Why do I even do that? Matt Taylor gave me advice that I should have listened to a long, long time ago.
You got it, brother. Hey, congratulations. Tell everybody I said hello.
Will do. Have a great rest of the
Take it easy. Kevin Bowen, 1075thefan.com. Scott Hoke's going to join me other side next. I'm late, Scott. My apologies. Meekum and NBC Sports Network. Scott Hoke, a familiar friend of the show, joins us next.
Don't miss Hubler Auto Group's summer celebration. Get road trip ready with huge savings and Hubler's exclusive 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Visit drivehubler.com.
Battle the heat and humidity this week with Payless Liquors. High Noon Sun Sips are only $9.99 for the 4-pack. St. Elmo's Cola and the 12-ounce premix cans are only $15.99 for the 4-pack. Jose Cuervo Authentics are $16.99, and that's for the 1.75-liter. Plus Kamchatka Vodka is only $8.99 for the 1.75, and Sutter Home Rosé $2.99 a bottle. And don't forget to pick up that Horse Soldier Bourbon in the single barrel only at Payless Liquors, 26 locations, online at paylessliquors.com. Don't pay more, get more, and pay less at Payless Liquors.
Hey, sports fans, it's time to discover a new way to bet with BetRivers Sportsbook. BetRivers offers an in-game live betting experience that's second to none. When the game starts, the betting action really begins. With loads of in-game betting options, including instant betting. Plus, BetRivers Sportsbook offers live streaming of matches from around the globe. Bet on the game while you watch it, all in one place. Download BetRivers Sportsbook or go to BetRivers.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT, 1-800-994-8448.
Pat Sullivan here for the Michaelis Corporation. They've been in business for over 35 years. I'm here with James Porter to talk about how Michaelis responds to emergency weather situations. James, what are some of the situations that you walk into as a Michaelis representative?
Heavy wind damage, heavy rain damage, and sub-zero temperatures like burst pipes.
When dealing with homeowners that have just had a major event, what can you do to be a calming presence?
First, be empathetic. For most people, this is the first time something like this has happened to them. Secondly, managing expectations. Being realistic with them and explaining the timelines of what's going to happen next.
Is part of that process working with their insurance company?
Absolutely. For a situation that can be quite traumatic, we try to make this as easy on the homeowner as possible.
If you have a weather-related emergency, call the Michaelis Corporation anytime, 24/7. The number 844-FIX-INDY or online at michaeliscorp.com. The Michaelis Corporation. Construct, renovate, restore.
Hey, it's JMV for my friends at Connecticut Water. Do you have problem water? Well, I have the greatest solution right here, and that's Connecticut. How about the biggest discount on the same whole home water treatment system I have? And for a limited time, take $1,200 off a Premier Series water softener and K5 drinking water station. This is a huge discount, and when I say huge, I mean huge. That's what I'm doing for you. Check it out, ConnecticutIndy.com today.
It takes everyone in the community working together to create a brighter future. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Visit liveunited.org to learn how you can help.
Hey, JMV here. Time for today's soccer scoreboard update brought to you by our hometown club, the Indy 11, back in action Saturday night, Lucas Oil Stadium versus Sporting Kansas City 2. Download the Indy 11 app to get your ticket info today. EPL ongoing 86th minute right now. Last check, Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1 late in that matchup. Meantime, finals from earlier today. It was Man U over Bournemouth. That final 2-1. The Wolves over Burnley, 1-0 was the final there, and Tottenham knocking off Newcastle earlier, 3-1. Again, download the Indy 11 app to get your ticket info because the Indy 11 back in action Saturday night, Lucas Oil Stadium, Sporting Kansas City 2. Indy 11 app to get your ticket information now.
The Ride with JMV.
I want you out in front of the school with her. I'd like to have a few words with you, by God.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
John Clayton, Kevin Bowen, podcast at 1075thefan.com. Meekum is back. Meekum is back, 10th through the 18th, Indiana State Fairgrounds, going on right now. 2,500 vehicles. You can also see the Meekum auction, which I love. You can see it on NBC Sports Network. Our friend Scott Hoke anchors the coverage there, and he joins us now on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. How are you?
I'm doing well, brother. How are you, John?
Yeah, I missed you in May. I mean, really, that has been just an absolute staple for me and the family in May. We missed you, but we're glad you're back.
You know what? We are so glad to be back doing what we do. It's been it's been 4 months. Oddly enough, our first show was last Saturday, and it was 4 months to the day of our first show in Glendale, Arizona back in March when everything was starting to collapse and fall apart. And quite honestly, we thought back then in March, they were going to put in Phoenix, that area, they were going to pull the plug on us and say, we got to shut this down, et cetera. But thankfully that didn't happen, and it's been a long wait, but it's just so gratifying to be back and hearing from so many fans that like you, missed us, and the fans here that are getting the opportunity to come out and buy and sell cars again. It's really been good.
Yeah, Scott Hoke, Meekum auction, of course, NBC Sports Network. We'll get the terms and times of his coverage and where you can see him coming up in a minute. But some of the changes just because of COVID-19, I know obviously the new date is certainly one. What other things may be a little bit different as far as the setting is concerned if people head out to the fairgrounds?
Well, the first thing you'll notice, obviously, we're in Marion County here at the fairgrounds, and so everyone's required to wear a mask indoors. There are, the seating area is much different. The chairs are spaced quite a bit. You'll see pairs of chairs. So, for example, a husband and wife team or, two people that are together and know that they're okay can sit together if they choose. There are some plexiglass shields up to protect, for example, the auctioneers. Myself and my broadcast partner, John Craman, are kind of in a little – it's funny. We're in a hockey arena, and we feel like we're in our own little penalty box.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's not what it is at all. It's just to protect everybody. And there are hand sanitizing stations all over the grounds. So Meekum, I will tell you this, Meekum has been in incredibly close contact with the state, with the city of Indianapolis, and the state fairgrounds. In fact, and they have put together a 9-page safety document for everybody's safety because we know that in order to have this event, we've got to do everything that we can to be safe. And we know that there are a lot of other events, not just here in Indy, John, but in other parts of the country that are watching us to see how we do it. And so far, I got to tell you, the team from Mecum has really knocked it out of the park in terms of getting everything ready to go and complying with all the safety protocols. And so it will look and feel a little bit different when you come here. And certainly when you see it on television.
Yeah, it will. But one other thing, and Scott Hoke joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, that will always remain the same would be the great vehicles, just the enjoyable time that you have, either being there live or watching. And then the themes. There's a theme that Dana puts together with others every single year here in Indy, and I'm sure it's across the schedule of locations throughout the nation where you guys have those stops. But what is the theme? What is the highlighted ride, the highlighted car going on this particular weekend?
Well, it's always been about muscle cars, and this year there are 18 different collections, but there's one collection that really kind of is far above the others, and that's the collection of John Otzbaugh, who has brought some of the absolute most valuable and rare Shelbys and Mustangs in the world to this group, to this auction. And in addition to that, man, he has thousands and thousands of pieces of what we call road art, collectible stuff, car parts, games, models, radio-controlled cars, posters, literature, memorabilia, all kinds of stuff that is just material that you cannot find. It's that rare. But his cars are unbelievable. A car that was driven by Ken Miles, the guy that we all came to know from Ford versus Ferrari last year.
Right.
The very first Shelby GT350 convertible ever. They only built 4 of them in 1965, I think, and this is the first one of those 4. We've got that, and it's off the chart, the John Otzbaugh collection, and there are going to be a couple of cars there that might bring, $1 or $2 million. That Ken Miles car, the Flying Mustang, could bring double that. We could be looking at a $3 or $4 or $5 million price tag if it sells. Don't know. What do you compare it to?
Yeah, that's awesome, though. Seriously, that is so awesome. And you know what? Even if you're sitting around thinking right now you're not much on muscle cars and much on that, believe me, when you get out there, or I just challenge folks to watch you. You guys do such a great job of entertaining during that broadcast. I mean, you can't help to be drawn to this because I know that what you guys talk about, discover, explore, experience, the final word of the 3 right there is what I get. It is an absolute experience and enjoyable each and every time.
It's much more than an auction. It's a car show and an auction and a trip down memory lane all in one. And, I like to call them the cars of our lives because anybody who comes here is going to be touched in some way by looking at a particular car. Oh, my dad had that, or the kid down the street had that one, or I remember that big white Buick Electra 225 parked in my driveway, and I couldn't play, or my neighbor's driveway, and we couldn't play basketball until his dad moved the car, whatever. It's stuff that we grew up with and our parents know, and it just covers the entire gamut.
Scott Hoke, the Mecum Auto Auction in town this week. You can catch him as well on NBC Sports Net. What are the times and dates when we can check you out there?
Well, that's a really good question. Actually, our coverage, the next, we just finished taping some stuff today that will air a little bit later in the week. But the next chance the viewers have to see our telecast is going to be tomorrow night, Thursday night, 7 o'clock here in Indy on NBC Sports Network, NBCSN.
That's awesome. I love it, man. It's plenty entertaining. And obviously, I mean, people around here, we've known you forever. I mean, you've been a part of this community and broadcast community especially forever. But, man, you have a great gig, brother. You do.
Well, I'm very blessed. You're right. It's a great gig. A lot of people would love to be doing it. I love doing it every time I go out. And, so I need you to ask me real quick, JMV, what has changed about me personally in the last 4 months since our last event in Phoenix?
What has changed about you personally in the last 3 months since that event in Phoenix?
Well, I'm so happy that I am now a grandpa.
Oh, that's awesome. There you go.
My daughter Lynette and her husband Gabe Tier became parents of a little boy, Judah Lincoln, on May 15th. So
that's awesome.
Grandpa, I'm Grandpa Scott now.
You are not old enough to be a grandpa. Come on now. Come on.
Oh, you're very kind, man.
Man, that is awesome though. Congratulations.
Thanks. It's pretty cool.
Man.
It's pretty cool.
All right. Well, and everybody's staying healthy, correct, in the fam?
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing. Having a baby during that time period in May when all this stuff was so brand new and, people, there's still so much that we don't know.
Yeah.
But for new moms and dads, hats off to them and being able to go through this and have healthy kids and all that. So again, God has blessed us very much with with the baby and, my daughter and son-in-law and the baby are very healthy. And so couldn't ask for anything more.
That's awesome. And I always love the conversation. I'm going to try to make it out there at some point too. We'll come by and check you out. My kids absolutely love it, just like everybody does. And
one of the cars you need to see, JMV, is a Ferrari, a 1965 Ferrari. It's got a little bit of an Indy connection. It's a 275 GTS. It's going to cross the block on Saturday, but it was once owned by David Letterman.
Was it really?
Go figure. It's a little Ferrari. It's not a race car or anything. It's just a small Ferrari. But I'm telling you what, it's rare enough and it's desirable enough. It could bring $1.5 million. It could bring $2 million.
Man.
Who knows?
And this is the real Letterman. It's not like when George Costanza bought that car because he thought it was John Voight's.
No.
What was that? That was an '89 LeBaron, I think, wasn't it? That Costanza bought. Yes.
I don't know, but this was really owned by David Letterman. True story.
That's awesome. Well, we'll be checking that out, and certainly I'll talk it up, and we'll look for you and the Mecum Auto Auction with Scott and the gang coming up on NBC Sports Network. Grandpa Hoke on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. Hey, seriously, congratulations to you and the fam, man. I'm happy. Really happy.
Thank you very much, man. And let me know when you come out. We'll get together out here.
You got it, buddy. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, JMV.
Scott Hoke is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group Hotline. That is a great dude, and that is great news. Man, we need great news like that. I need that. We all do. Mecum Auto Auction. Just mask up, go out there. It is such a great time. I like going out back. And they have a bunch of cars for sale just out back. It's awesome. It is awesome. And we've all grown up with dreams about certain cars. Or cars bring back memories, too. I mean, even cars that you wouldn't necessarily think about right now. Like, you might go there and find a 1988 Cadillac Cimarron. Remember the Cadillac Cimarron? Like, it was a four-door. I don't know. It had the Cadillac name. I don't know how much of a Cadillac that it was. Anybody remember the Cadillac Cimarron? I'll tell you what. You may go out there and find yourself a two-door Lincoln, too. Anybody ever see a two-door Lincoln? Thing's about 3 miles long. This brings back great memories. It's a great time. And you can watch it on NBC Sports Network, too. The Mecum Auto Auction. State Fairgrounds now through the 18th. Check it out. Quick break, and we'll come back. Final time. Hey, I was in error as far as telling you when the next Backyard Bourbon broadcast is. It's not a week from Friday. It's 2 weeks from Friday. Is the 31st 2 weeks from Friday? Is that accurate? When's the 31st? 2 weeks from this Friday? So 2 weeks from this Friday. Yeah, see, I just get this. The Cimarron was a Cadillac. Was a Cadillac badged Chevy Cavalier. Exactly. But it was a Cadillac. Give me that Cadillac. It's a Cimarron. You might be able to buy one out there for, hell, I don't know, $1,500. Thank you, Rich. A Cavalier with caddy tags. The Cimarron. Back with you guys. I'll give you that date and exactly how you need to sign up once again for the Backyard Bourbon broadcast. Set the stage for tomorrow and recap the fun we had today. 93.5, 107.5, and 1070 The Fan.
Kids, tell your parents about Forum Credit Union's Sprout of the Month contest where you could win $100 in a Sprout account for college. Details at 1075thefan.com.
Here's what's happening with The Fan.
Listen to the morning show with Jeff and Big Joe from 7 to 10 a.m. and call in for the pop quiz and your chance to win tickets from Indy 11. It's the first Mountain Dew Indy 500 ticket stop Saturday at Kroger on Thompson Road. Join The Fan from noon to 1 for your chance at winning tickets to this year's race. Remember The Fan's on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Like and follow The Fan for updates, giveaways, and all things sports. For more information, just click on 1075thefan.com.
Hey, Johnny for Love Heating and Air Conditioning, 317-353-2141. Man, make sure your unit is doing what it should do. Cooling your house the efficient way. Because if it's not, you're going to be hot and bothered, and nobody wants that. If it's not, it's going to cost you money, and nobody wants that. Who can help? John and Chris Love. Love Heating and Air Conditioning at 317-353-2141. Their technicians are skilled in their craftsmanship, so they can help out your current system or certainly with great deals can get you into one that's going to get the job done right. You're looking for people that you know and you trust. That's Love Heating and Air Conditioning. 317-353-2141. And note this, they're following CDC recommended guidelines for your health and your safety. They're the best for a reason. They'll get the job done right. You can count on them every time. And again, people you know and you trust. I Love Heating and Air Conditioning. 317-353-2141 online. love-hvac.com today.
Live sports are back with your undefeated Indy 11 taking on Sporting Kansas City 2 this Saturday at 7 p.m. at Lucas Oil Stadium. Your safety as a supporter of the Indy 11 is paramount to a great experience. Please visit Indy11.com to review the safety plan for the venue on game days. Get your tickets now by visiting Indy11.com, Ticketmaster, or download the Indy 11 app to utilize digital ticketing. All tickets have social distancing built into the seating plan. We need your voice to help us get all 3 points on game days. Indy 11, victory is ours.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy any car. Any make, any model, any age, any price from $50 to $100,000. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy any car. Sell your car the easy way. Go online and sell it today. We buy any car. Any. Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
Hey, it's John. If you're tired of dealing with problem water, let me give you a bit of a helper here because I've dealt with it. I have well water. So can you imagine the greatness of Connecticut turning my well water into the best water possible? No more smelling, no more bad taste, just fantastic water with Connecticut. Here's the reason. The Premier Series water softener is unmatched. It will transform your water into the absolute best. And then the K5 drinking water station also is a game changer for you. And right now, Joe, John, and Dennis from Connecticut, for a limited time, will offer a $1,200 discount of a Premier Series water softener and a K5 drinking water station. because of me. Just say JMV. I want the JMV deal. $1,200 off, and they'll take $1,200 off of your purchase of those two items. What I have in my house, you will love with Connecticut. 2 locations, Northeast Side, Castleton, South Side, US 31 in Southport Road. The Connecticut Water app today. Download it to your smartphone, your smart device, or for all the information you need online, ConnecticutIndy.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. Most of us have spent a lot of time at the house over the last several months. Maybe you've been thinking about doing some home improvements, a new kitchen or bathroom. How about a deck, pool, or finished basement? Well, the timing has never been better to do those projects. Let's drop your rate and get you the cash you need to make those improvements today. The 5-minute loan approval only available at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Live sports are back as the undefeated Indy 11 take on Sporting Kansas City 2 this Saturday at 7 p.m. at Lucas Oil Stadium. Learn about the plans for your safety and get tickets at Indy11.com.
The NTT IndyCar Series races at Iowa. Friday night at 8:30 and Saturday at 8 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Oh, wait just a minute. Didn't anybody knock anymore?
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Great day today. Thank you guys for hanging with us per usual. John Clayton, Kevin Bowen, Scott Hope, podcast 1075thefan.com. If you want to get updated, I mean absolutely updated on everything with the NFL, the John Clayton 20-plus minute conversation is just what you ordered right there. Easy. Everything you need to know. We covered everything with John. Somebody's got to tell me this. So my daughter plays this weekend at something called the Heltonville Recreational Center. I'm assuming the Heltonville Recreational Center, is that where the half-court outside Damon Bailey 1988 facility? Shout out to the Heltonville Recreation Center. We'll be there on Saturday morning, wherever the hell it is, in Heltonville. Come on. Here we come to Heltonville. Jim, I love Larceny Bourbon, my brother. Larceny Bourbon. What is your go-to, JMV? Go-to, I start with Larceny Bourbon. Love it. By the way, the Backyard Bourbon broadcasts the 31st, 2 weeks from Friday. Sign up, 1075thefan.com. I'll give you all the particulars coming up on tomorrow's show. Charles Arbuckle tomorrow. Mike Chappell tomorrow. Kyle, great job today. Thank you very much. John Clayton, Kevin Bowen, Scott Hoke, and you guys were spectacular per usual. Back with you right here tomorrow, 3 o'clock, 93.5, 107.5, 10.7 Fan.
Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Get up to $150 in savings off select sets of tires now through August 2nd. Only at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Best service, best products. Do it best.
Hi, Pat Sullivan here of Sullivan Hardware and Garden. Yes, we have thousands of home improvement items in stock, but what separates us are the things you won't find in a typical big box store. A wide selection of annuals and perennials, many grown right here in Indianapolis. A wide array of patio furniture at our Keystone location, our Weber grills, and don't forget the world's best smoker and grill, the Big Green Egg, available at Sullivan Hardware and Garden.
Protect against bugs this season with Ortho Home Defense Hornet and Wasp, Flying Insect, or Ant and Roach Killer. Kills wasps, yellow jackets, mud daubers and hornets, and more.